What do you have to lose? You're living in poverty. Your schools are no good. You have no jobs. 58% of your youth is unemployed. What the hell do you have to
Hey everybody, we're starting soon. We're starting soon, everybody. We're going on live soon. We're going on live soon. We're just fixing the technical difficulties. We're going on live soon. Please wait. Thank you for joining. We're going on live soon. We're going on live soon. Just give us a minute. We're going live soon.
Hey, how you doing, Sway?
I'm good, Tabisha. I'm good. I'm good. We live. We live.
So, it's a blessing to be here. I really thank you for coming on and talking to us about your experience. And I'm just wondering, what do you expect, if anything, for the people to gain from the information that you're giving us today?
Well, give me 1 second. Let me turn off my fan so that way we get a better sound from me. Hold on. I'm sorry.
So, do you want to send Miles? Did Miles want to
Uh, I'll send him a message. I'll send him a message so um, he can watch and whatever. But he should have already gotten the notification.
since plans changed and everything?
Yeah.
And I actually started to reach out to Daryl,
Hmm.
but he got a lot going on, and I was like, nope, I'm just, I'm rocking with God, so I'm not gonna make it seem like I can't do this by myself because this would have been the first show without support,
Right.
and then, I didn't really think about you had skills like that. So thanks again.
No, no problem. No problem. I got
Even
you.
though I don't know how to maneuver everything, at least, a little bit. And you see, I remember
Mhm.
things. So we'll see how it goes.
So to answer your question, well, the fact that we're actually live streaming on my channel, this is the first time I've actually talked in full detail on a lot of things. I've talked about a few things here and there, but I guess to answer your question is more of just to get it out there, really, just to get the information out there. People who watch my channel, they already know a lot that's going on, and for the people that are your followers who are coming in and they're either watching us live now or they're watching the replay, um, I just want them to get a sense of what's really out there. What's really out there. One of the reasons why I've never spoken on my own channel concerning my experiences is because, and I've said this before many times on my channel, was because I really had no proof that would be good enough for a lot of the people that have questions. I can tell you, I can tell you about the shared experiences I've had, like with Miles, from Miles Moon Bases. Me and him, we've had shared experiences on many occasions, and other people. But as far as like physical proof, like like pictures and videos, things like that, that's hard to come by with these sort of things.
Well, that's a blessing because that's where I come in with the woke. Because, even with proof, people won't believe you.
No, that's true.
So, with me and the content that I deliver to the public, I just put it out there. You take it or you don't, but it's out there. And once it's out there, the people that need to hear it, that want to hear it, that it was meant to connect with, those that's not sure about what may have been going on in their life, it's going to connect. We can't worry about anybody else because we are artists. And the content that we give to the people is just that what it is. We are not catering to them. We are sharing ourselves with them. So,
That's
we don't
facts.
cater to.
No, that's facts. That's facts. And I take that very seriously too. And everything that I do, not just on the Sway channel, but on Sway skits. It's uh as an artist, I'm out there, I'm putting my stuff, right, like you just said, right, putting my stuff. Now there's been a lot
Yeah.
of, yeah, there's been a lot of times where I'm trying to talk with other creators on different things, and they're like, well, why don't you do a skit on what's trending? Why don't you do because I'm not a follower. I'm not a
because
follower. I'm
that's
not.
not trending in your life. What we do as artists, we are sharing our world. And that's what makes you an artist aside from everybody else. If you did what everybody else did, then that'd just make you another guy doing this.
Mm-hmm.
You're an artist, and we are sharing our world with the world in hopes that those that can understand that these things that we share with you come from the heart, which I guess I'll have to go to a quote from Tyrese, the actor, singer, drum player,
Mm-hmm.
well, garbage can player. Um, he made a statement quite some years ago that resonated with me, and I believe is true for all artists. And he said, the things that you do that come from the heart are able to touch other people's hearts. And that's what brings forth the connection. And that's what it is that you're doing. You have to free yourself, free your spirit, and nobody knows anything else that you're enduring in your life or that I'm enduring in my life, as far as the pains, the ups, the downs, the struggles, the fights, the fact that, for over a year, I've been actually waking up in shock that I'm up, that I still have the gift of breath.
Mm-hmm.
Like, wow, okay, so you really woke me up again. All right, let's go ahead and tackle it.
Right.
Like, that's really how I've been getting up. And the Lord has blessed me with some people in my life that kind of brought forth a little bit of positive spirits to encourage me to keep on keeping on. And by doing this interview with you, I believe that's what will help others to understand the things that they don't quite understand, because people have not still got in their head the fact that everything is spiritual. Every single thing is spiritual. I just realized that. And I'm the daughter of a preacher, that everything is spiritual, from the kids. Like, I used to cuss out my kids, get all frustrated, feeling like I needed a blunt to get through my day and this and that, when all I had to really do is come together with the Most High. And when all of those things were released for me, and I realized that that was just something that was embedded in me, it wasn't necessary. All the stress that I put on myself with kids being kids and with life going on, it was unnecessary.
Oh, look at the kitty.
My panther.
Cutie. Look at that.
And then she talked. She just had to be in the scene. That don't make no sense. Just like the kids. See me enjoying myself.
And then she lifts up
Shut
her
up.
butt.
See? As soon as I start laughing.
she lifts up her butt. Nah, she lifts up her butt and is like, here's my booty hole.
You need to quit. She see me laughing. As soon as I laugh. And the kids do that too.
Yeah.
When they see me laughing and enjoy myself, like, what's going on?
Right.
You happy? You know that part from Kung Fu Panda? What's this, laughter?
Right.
You know? But I was so excited just to hear what happened to you and the experience that you endured, because I had several experiences, but I don't know if I would call it ET. From my experience and the things that I endure in life, I don't believe that we have the definition of what quote unquote being human is. As a matter of fact, I even jotted down a couple of companies where, don't you think it's strange that if indeed we are all humans, we got companies that's got the name human in it, like the human resources. What other resource would it be? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, it's well, I guess it all depends on the origin on why they call themselves the like human resources. Like I really don't know anything why they're called the human resources, but
let's see.
you know,
Excuse me for a minute. I highlighted this.
take your time.
And I realized, but I'm too real to be ill, so it is
I'm
what it is.
googling. I'm googling right now.
I took some pictures just to bring it up during the show. If I can just get to it.
Well, you also got to remember though that in many jobs, okay, like you working on a farm, like an old school farm where they're using donkeys and bulls to plow the land and things like that. It's like they're not human, so they don't have rights. I guess I don't know. Uh,
Human focused contact center solutions.
mm-hmm.
This is a company. See if I can get it to where you can see it. Right? And
It says we're running out of time again. We might have to set up the Zoom. I'm gonna have to keep sending you Zoom links because you know what I mean.
really, why is that?
I don't know. I guess because this is the free version or something of Zoom, and
Okay.
it only
Well,
allows
it
something.
says experience is everything. At Next Rep, we know that creating exceptional experience for our marketplace contractors inspires them to create. So this is a company uh, for jobs.
Hmm.
And the fact that it's stated human focused contact center solutions. You got a lot of government companies, agencies, and um, the family and children's services and doctor's office. I mean, all around us. The fact that they had to put human in front of the title, it does something to me now, you know, because a lot of people don't understand when they hear extraterrestrial, they're thinking about the movies that they seen. They're not thinking about the fact that they it's just looking like you and me, just like you and me.
Hmm.
Some of them, you know what I'm saying? It's no different from you and me.
Hmm.
It's the same person they sleeping with. They could have had a baby for a giant and didn't even know it. My son was like 6'3", 360 pounds. So could his dad or my dad have ancestry of the giants?
Like as in Goliath and all them. It's very possible. It's very possible because one of the things that is really prevalent in discussion, right, that's being talked about is hybridization, where they're trying, where ETs are mixing with humans, and I've always said this, everywhere I talk, is that everything is connected. God, Jesus, angels, demons, ETs, whatever. It's all connected. So the giants were basically a product of hybridization, where the fallen angels were mating, having sex with the women of mankind, the human women. So that's where you got the giants and what have you. So it's very possible that those genes were
Because
still
this
being
is
passed
what we were
along.
told, right?
Yeah, Yeah, so
because this is what we were told.
well, here's the thing.
So
The thing that's being taught in churches concerning that is that it's not that fallen. It depends on what church you go to. But the majority of churches, they'll teach that it's not the fallen angels having sex with human women, but it is the line of Seth, the men from the line of Seth having sex with the women of the line of Cain. From the from early Adam and Eve time. You know what I mean? So,
now,
but that doesn't make
is
sense.
it not possible that Adam or Eve were any type of giants or any type of other beings? Because all we know is what we've been told.
Well,
All we know is about what's in manuscripts that are that have much contradictory in it and that's very argumentative amongst the other manuscripts that's been out and constantly being changed. So if we only have blinders on to the books that we were given, it's just like somebody giving you a steak and telling you that this is beef. We know
well,
it's beef because all our life we've been told that it's beef. This is what beef is.
okay. Well, going into that is like we've had our discussions the other day, right? Where I was like, you got to look outside those books. You have to look outside those books. You have to look into many sciences. You have to look into like anthropology and all of that stuff. And mankind was always a certain height. Mankind was always a certain height. If a man and a woman, they have sex, they have children, those kids, they're human. Something had to be something weird had to happen to the human genome, to the DNA, from an outside source to create the giants. There's no way.
Well, what about the giants that we have now? Like the giant in Tijuana, that both for her parents are extremely small, but yet, the Asian giant.
Yeah, no, I just think
We got
many
the
of the
Asian giant. We
many
got
of
the
today's
black
giants,
giant.
many of today's
White giants.
giants,
We got the giants that's out there right now.
yeah, like many of today's giants, like Shaquille O'Neal, to name one, Paul White, aka the Big Show
No,
from
real
professional
giant.
wrestling.
I've looked up real giants.
You're talking
Shaquille
about?
O'Neal.
Well, I'm just look. Shaquille O'Neal is like on the smaller side of the giants, but
Right.
but every giant, every tall person, many of them have a glandular problem where they call it like giantitis or something like
Yeah.
that. So, but that had to come from DNA. And it's not human DNA, because if Shaquille O'Neal was completely human DNA, he would be regular height. But I'm just bringing in everything together, from the spiritual to the scientific to the pseudoscience. I'm bringing everything together to basically say is that there had to be some kind of mixing of DNA in order to create the human giants. So if you have I use the word fallen angels as an example. Fallen angel. Hold on, Miles is. Anyway, so if we had to use the DNA of fallen angels and mixing it with mankind, then it's gonna create a lot of differences, a lot of different things, So it's like it says, like just using scripture alone, it says that because of this union of the sons of God and the daughters of men, that their offspring was what created the heroes of old. So it has to, on a scientific level, has to be something with DNA. with DNA. There's just this is my opinion. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a like mainstream scientist or anything like that. It's just my opinion. There's no way where you have human DNA mating with human DNA, creating a mutated something that was mutated. There has to
And
be.
that's what brings us back to what we're speaking about today. What indeed is the true definition of human?
I'm not saying nothing. I'm not saying nothing. I'm just saying. And
Now,
that's a good
timer
question.
here that says we have 1 more minute. So if we once we begin the stream again, will the same link work?
No, yeah, I'm not ending the stream. Is the Zoom meeting that's restarting, not the stream. So we're just gonna continue.
Oh, so what's gonna happen here in 1 minute?
In one
On
minute, what's gonna
YouTube?
happen is that it's gonna end the Zoom. We're still streaming. I'm still live. I'm still talking. People can still hear me. I'll just send you another Zoom link.
Oh, I'm just cut off.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
But yeah. So going into what you're saying, that's just what it is. What is the definition of human? And even on a biblical level, it even says it. In the scriptures, what it say is that we live in this world, but we're not of this world. So
All right.
so it's like, okay, so she got cut off. I apologize for that, everybody. I have to start a whole new setup. It's crazy, y'all. It's crazy. So I'm just gonna keep talking. Send her a whole new link and all that, and this is what sucks with. This is what sucks with Zoom sometimes, and being broke and poor. All right, so let me close that. Send her another link while we're talking, while we're doing our thing. See, I'm gonna have to. I might have to start using StreamYard. I'll show her how to use StreamYard as well. But I gotta find her here. So now I'm just waiting for her to get on. All right, she's back. Welcome back. You know what? I think the same link is gonna keep working over and over again.
Okay.
The same invite link. So when it cuts you off again, just press it again and get back on the chat.
All right.
But
So
it's a pain. It's a pain. I hear a text.
so just cut me off.
Right.
So what we have to do, pay for Zoom in order for it not to be like that.
Yeah, I guess
We have to pay into Zoom.
there's another way. There's another way where we can do it. So for like the next time. There's
All right.
another way.
Well, after the show, we'll look into that
Yeah.
and see if we could come together, because being that we're going to be putting out a lot of content, then coming together for if they just asking for a small amount, then we should be able to do that if we're doing it together.
Yeah, we'll get it going and figure it out and all that and hold on. But yeah, no. So let's get back into the conversation so that we don't bore people to death. I'm sorry.
Well, let's start off with the very first time you experience anything out of the ordinary in your life to where we're able to sit and have this conversation right now in regards to saying ET experience. And for those that's not familiar, it's extraterrestrial.
All right, so um all right, so a lot of things that happened I didn't even know.
How old were you?
Well, okay, when it comes to the ET contact stuff, that's basically lifetime from the time you're born until the time you die. So my sleeping meds, I have insomnia, but I was always a sleepwalker. Um, there were certain times where I would be up, I would wake up, and I'm in the middle of the living room, or I'm in the middle of like the kitchen or something like that, and I'm like, how did I get there? There were times where I would wake up and I would hear this high pitch in my ears, like a field of cicadas, those little bugs, like, "Zzz." And it'll be weird because I'll be seeing some weird visions. I'll be like feeling certain things. There was just a lot of stuff that was going on. I didn't know what at the time. We were poor. We were poor. We didn't have access to cable television. We didn't have access. Something was going on. It would be okay. Like if I was laying down to take a nap, I was laying down to take a nap, and then I wake up, and my brother would be on top of
And
me.
what age would you say this was?
Oh, this was like early on.
Age?
Yeah, this was like 5, 6, 7, 8, where when my brother would like I said, I would take a nap, and my brother would just get on top of me, and then next thing you know, it's like freaking. I would wake up, he's on top of me, he's giving me a look like I would freak the hell out. And I'm wondering why am I freaking out? Why am I freaking out? Okay, but that didn't I didn't think about it much. I just kept doing whatever. So I remembered this date, and the only reason I remembered this date is because it was the debut of the show X-Files. Okay, this was in September 10th, 1993. I was 10 years old. This was a Friday. Okay, this was a Friday. So, normally,
Now, just to digress for a second, you said you was mentioned the fact that now we are sharing our world. You're sharing your world,
yeah.
and you don't have proof, but the proof has been out there, such as the show rather, X Files.
Mm-hmm.
You know, no, if they didn't just that didn't just pop up in anybody's head. But go ahead, continue.
Hope you don't mind. I my channel, I normally have a smoke and a Coke, and everybody knows it. So, I hope you don't mind if I have a cigarette, because I gotta calm down a minute. So this,
Because you see me with my vape.
yeah, I see you. But I figure, hey, we might as well both enjoy a smoke. You know what I mean? What flavor you got anyway?
Um, I don't know. I'm just trying to stay away from the ganja.
I hear you.
10
Hey, but so I would say,
years old.
oh yeah, I was 10 years old, and the thing was is that until then we didn't have cable. Then by some miracle, by some miracle of God, my parents were able to afford cable TV. Okay, so now normally they would make my brother and I go to bed at 8 o'clock. Period. Especially on school nights. This was a school night, September 10th, 1993. But this time we were like, you know what? Now let's watch TV. It's the weekend, please. They're like, yeah, okay, fine. So on the local Fox channel over here, they called it Alien Night. Okay, they called it Alien.
And where are you at again for the people that don't know?
I'm in Connecticut.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm in Connecticut. So they call this Alien Night. And if anybody from Connecticut, if anybody from Connecticut, who was around in Connecticut in 1993, September 10th, 1993, you know exactly what I'm talking about. This was Alien Night. Okay. So they first showed, it was the episode of The Simpsons where Homer thought he saw an alien, but in reality it was Mr. Burns high off his meds, and he was glowing because of the radiation from the power plant. That was the first thing they showed. And then they showed the premiere, the debut of the X-Files, the first episode of the X-Files. Okay? And it was funny because after the X-Files, they showed a show called Sightings. Now, the show Sightings has been around since 1990.
I remember. I know Sightings.
Yeah, so it was around since like 1990, but because we were kids, we were forced to go to bed at 8, and we didn't have cable or nothing. We were forced to go to bed at 8. I didn't know anything about it. So
cold water, please, Solomon.
So, okay, whatever, the Simpsons thing didn't freak me out, or nothing. The whole thing with the X-Files didn't do anything, you know what I mean?
But Sightings?
No, so here we go with Sightings. We're going with Sightings. And it was funny because when the Sightings was on, I remember it was either my mom. It was either my mom or my brother. They made a comment. My mom or my brother made a comment. Oh, everything's alien, and then I made the comment to them. Yeah, it's alien night. So I'm trying to remember which episode of Sightings it was, but what they did is that they were talking about alien abductions, and then they said we have a computer generated graphic of what the alien looks like. And I'm not showing you the exact graphic, but I'm showing you of what it basically looked like. Hold on. I'm showing it on the OBS for the people that are watching.
Oh.
Okay.
Technology at its finest.
Oh yeah. I got my thing. All right. So hold on. Now I got to make it smaller. But
so I won't be able to see until I tune back in.
Yeah. It takes a minute. But basically, this is how... Basically, it's what it looked like. I'm not saying it's exactly what it looked like or anything. I'm just saying it's basically what it looked like on the... Put
it in a freezer.
On the thing. It was basically an alien gray, okay? An alien gray. Now, as soon as I saw that little computer-generated graphic that was basic as heck, I started freaking out because of the eyes. Because as soon as I saw that, that oval, oval head thing that they have with the big eyes and everything, all of a sudden, I started experiencing, the memories of the eyes being, right there, face to face to me. And I'm like, I'm freaking out because they weren't even mentioning how some people would freak out every time when they'll see one of these things face to face like that. They weren't talking about that in this episode. I remember, so it was like I was freaking out, and me being a quiet person that and shy and everything, I was just, nobody knew that there was anything wrong. So I started freaking out and having nightmares, and all these memories started coming back. All these memories of these experiences started coming back, and I was 10 years old. That's when these memories started happening. Just from that one computer generated picture, all these
memories of what?
Of seeing these things, walking with these things, being in an area that I have no idea where it was, and it was just like, oh my goodness, what's going on? So it took me a while, but then I started watching the show Sightings continuously, just religiously, just to see if they would talk more about certain things. And I remember in a lot of the reenactments from the show, they would show these, men and women, they're lying down, and they're basically in their underwear, lying down in bed on their back. So me being at 10, 11, 12 years old, I'll be like, well, maybe if I sleep on my stomach, they'll leave me alone. And then I would be praying. I would be like, God, please protect me. Don't let these things take me ever again. So on and so forth. So on, just things like that. But throughout the years, and this is just from my experience, everybody has different experiences. But the thing is that as I'm hearing about people having negative experiences, I'm remembering positive experiences. The only reason why I'm freaking out is because you have these things with these big black eyes. So
that's unfamiliar.
Yeah,
it's not normal from what you're accustomed to.
Exactly. So, but as the years have gone by, and I've actually just and when I started researching completely, like all of a sudden we had a car. All of a sudden I was able to get to the library. All of a sudden I was able to.
So now
research.
We go from 10 to what was the age where you can say that you were researching?
I would say about 13, 14.
Okay.
About a good 2 or 3 years. Yeah. Yeah. So that's when I really started researching. That's when I was okay, what is this? What is this? And then I'm asking the questions of why am I having good experiences but other people are having bad experiences? But at the same time, my background, right? My background is I grew up in the church. I grew up in the church. My dad's always been a preacher and so on and so forth. At the age of 12, I started preaching, and so I was like, okay, you know what? I have to figure something out. Okay, and this is when I started using the Bible as a basis of what can it be? What can it be from my experiences and from the research that I'm doing? And then I really started researching the Bible of what could it be? What could it be? And after a while, let's say 2 or 3 years, I was about 15 years old. I started realizing that I can communicate with these things. I can communicate with these things telepathically. And they would point out certain things, like certain scriptures to me, certain, just anything to give me an answer. Or if I would go to bed, I would be having these dreams. Which is actually a memory of what's happening, but they're teaching me things. And they're actually using the Bible, saying, look, this is what we are.
So what did they say they are? Now, is this in comparison at all with the jinns from the Quran?
Well, here's the thing. The jinns are demons in the Quran. That's where you get the word genie. They're deceivers.
So I'm saying, is it in comparison with?
Well,
would you compare?
No.
Communication.
No. It's like this, right? It's like this. When I talk about this to a Christian, the way I explain it is, it's all angels and demons. You have the good ETs. You have the good ETs, the love and light, the people that and they're what we would call the angels. Then you have the bad ETs. There would be the ones that we would call demons or the jinn or, like any negative force that's out there. So everything, and that's how I would, be. And the thing is that anytime I'm dealing with the ones that I deal with, and I'm having these conversations about Jesus Christ, and I'm having these conversations about, about heaven and this and that and the other. I mean, they recognize, they say, yes, Jesus Christ is your Lord and Savior. Yes, Jesus Christ is the Son of God. Yes, Jesus Christ is Now, I've dealt with some of the bad ones, and they're the ones that are usually like, no, he was a great prophet. He was, but he's not the Son of God. Like they'll try to trick you into certain things. And as I'm doing research, a lot of people have had that experience where they'll say to these people that, no, Jesus Christ, yeah, he was a great teacher, this and that, but he's not the Son of God or whatever. It's like they try to. So for me, it's like, okay, I already know who I'm going to listen to and who I'm not going to listen to. And the thing is that if something bad is happening and I call out the name of Jesus, then these bad ones they go away. The good ones that I deal with and I still deal with and I'm still in communication with and whatever, they're like, sometimes they'll show up in their true form, and they'll say, like the angels of old from the Old Testament, they'll say, no, 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 don't worship me, don't fear me, I'm a fellow servant, I'm a fellow creature just like you, only worship the God Almighty above. That's what they tell me. So that's why for me, it's like, it's very, at least from my experience. Remember, everybody has different experiences, everybody has different paths, and everybody has different information. So anytime somebody tells me something different, I'm not gonna discourage it or anything. I'm not gonna be like, oh, you're full of crap, or no, because that's what they've experienced, this is what they've seen, this is so. What I try to do is that anytime I talk to somebody, I let them know my experiences, and when they tell me their experiences, I just love to have these conversations about, okay, wow, okay, I didn't know this happened to you. Wow, okay, it's because something's going on. There's something out there that's going on, and we have to figure out what's happening. We have to ask the questions: is it really this way, or is it this way? Because
Well, do we really got to figure it out, or are we supposed to adapt? Because how well do you know your Bible? Now, the question that I have, I remember, I believe it's in Corinthians. I was actually trying to Google it, but I I, I, I want to say Corinthians, but what scripture is it where God speaks about celestial and extraterrestrial spirits? It's
okay,
in the Bible.
yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right in Corinthians. Yeah, I just can't remember it right now. Uh,
So, and I mean, a lot of people, because the majority of the preachers, they all focus on the same thing. This is a very thick book, King James, in which you can turn on 10 to 20 channels of preaching. And even though it's different stories, they pretty much stay in safe areas. You realize that a lot of preachers stay safe,
yeah,
and and they go with a little passage. It's like, I don't know, because I've never been to school to preach. You have, but if it's some type of protocol where you speak about two or three passages, and then as Jesus, you compare it to a relatable story to bring together the ending for the message to the people, right?
here's the
Okay.
problem. Here's the problem when it comes to preachers. Okay, preachers, ministers, you have it. You name it. Excuse me. Excuse me. 95 to 98% of them think they know it all, and if you, how can I put it? They think they know it all. Period. They think they know it all, and they think that they have all the answers. They think that they don't have to learn anything else. They think that a good majority of the preachers don't even go to seminary. A majority of the preachers, they don't even go to any kind of training. They just read the book, and then they read a passage, and they're like, and God said dot 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 dot, and that's where you have a lot of these preachers out there that they're bringing a lot of hatred towards other people because of different backgrounds and
Right, and that's the
situations.
problem that I have, because it just doesn't seem with so cut and dry
Yeah.
that we just have our Bibles, and it's just all of us is dancing along, just following this little scripture right here. You
Hmm.
know what I'm saying?
And
To
then,
take us to the golden land,
yeah, no,
which
no, and
I
then,
am a believer in God.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
a believer in Jesus, Yeshua, whatever name you want to call it. Because, just to digress from the extraterrestrials, I had to think about the fact that everybody has a different Jesus, Yeshua. Jesus is like Kenny G. And they say the Muslims, I mean the Israelites say, well, get out of that church, which I love the way they teach, but I am against the fact that God give us freedom of choice. So don't go chasing black folks saying we are the promised people, and
Oh,
we don't need to
the
be in the
black
right church.
Hebrews, the black Hebrew,
Yeah,
like,
looking at
yeah.
Jesus. Instead, we need to. So Jesus is Kenny
One
G,
one of my
and then they
exes is
say,
that.
"Well, no, that ain't our savior. That's the white man's savior. That's
Yeah.
Kenny G. Our savior is Philip Michael Thomas. You know what I'm Yeshua. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, no. Well, here's
and
the thing. No, no. But here's the thing, right? Here's the thing with
and
all of
then
it.
you got Yeshua and you got Jesus, and they put them together, and you know who you come up with? You know who you come up with?
Who you come up with? Go. You got to say it. We had the conversation the other day. I don't want to spoil it.
You come up with, I forgot his name. Look, the spirit won't even let me say it. I forgot his name. Let me see. He my Facebook friend too. I forgot his name. He used to play basketball. He a mixed breed.
Yeah.
He's a mixture of Jesus and Yeshua.
Yeah. No, but like altogether, right? When it comes to these preachers, is that the majority of them, whether they went to seminary or not, they think that they have all the answers, that they don't have to search anything else. So when you bring up a question, like let's say dealing with ETs or dealing with just something that's out of their normal life of preaching, it's like they get angry. And then, no, it's not like this, it's like this. No, it's not like this, it's like this. Well, where in the Bible? And again, when I'm talking to other Christians, as a minister myself, when I'm talking to Christians, these ministers, and I'm like, well, where in the Bible does it say that?
But isn't that the way the world did Jesus, Yeshua, and you? Because it's easy to deal with what we're accustomed to. So anytime you bring forth anything that's out of the ordinary, the first thing they want to X out is, do you do drugs, alcohol? What are you going through? Because then it makes it easier.
Yeah.
I don't have to hear this. This is out of the ordinary.
No, and that's the thing.
You got me using more of my brain than I'm used to using on a regular basis. So then if they can X out if you're an alcoholic or on drugs, then they want to know, okay, so who else have you told this story to? And before they even give you an ear, the little bit of information you share with them, they're going to go run and tell somebody else because they need somebody to agree with them that you're crazy.
No.
And you need
that's
help.
The problem. That's the problem,
because
though.
The things that you're talking about is out of the ordinary and it's totally impossible.
No, and that's the problem that we have. And for me,
you can be attacked by them on a regular basis because they know that the world is so trained that they refuse to open up their minds and ears to anything that's out of the ordinary. But they sit and watch these shows like Alf that we was brought up on, and the Teenage Witch and Genie and this and that, and so and all of these different movies. I just watched a movie that showed the paint and everything in the house, which I believe that it is somewhat true, that it had different ET fragments in it, made up like the whole world. The things that you see that appears to be impossible to be man-made. But if you gave them another explanation for it, then they'd throw it out the window because that's too much for me to try to wrap my brain around. So it's our job to open up those brains.
But that's the problem, is that a lot of and I'm using ministers as an example. They're too afraid, they're too stubborn, or whatever. They don't want to think about that, because every answer is in a book. And don't get me wrong, there are a lot of answers in there. And it's great. But like me as a person, me as a man, I want to go beyond. I want to learn as much as possible.
Most of the answers are not in the book because the books had to be written by somebody and you have to be out there prior to writing the book. Most of the answers are in getting your hands dirty.
Well, that's half true.
Getting
It's
down
half
to
and
the
half.
gritty.
It's half and half. In my opinion, it's half and half. Half of it is you have to get dirty. Half of it is you because it gives. Sometimes it will give you an answer that you don't understand it to be an answer until you get your hands dirty. Like sometimes you'll read some scripture where it'll say something and you don't think it's actually saying anything, and then once you finally get your hands dirty, then your mind goes back into that scripture. Oh, wait a minute, that was the answer that I was looking for. A lot of the times, that's what it is. That's just my opinion, though. That's my opinion. Don't quote me as fact. That's my opinion.
So now, from my understanding, from what you're saying, by age 15, you were communicating with the ETs. They family to you,
Pretty much, yeah.
basically.
They're my team.
So,
Like literally, they're my team.
and do you still communicate with them to this day?
Yeah, yeah.
So, I mean, other than them just being family, what's the highlight? Like they don't have no special treats. You know what I'm saying?
A lot
What's
of
the
it.
highlight?
Here's the thing. A lot of it is more of they're just teaching me things. They're teaching whether because there's two types of contact. Okay, you have astral contact, and where like my spirit will go up, and they show me things, and I'm like walking around and doing whatever. Then you have the physical
Okay,
contact.
wait, back up. So when you say your spirit go up, that mean like
Not that I
body
died.
down here?
Yeah, body's down here, and it's like it's like when you have a spiritual experience, right? You have a spiritual experience, like God takes you to heaven, and He's like, "Hey, my child, I want you to talk about this. Look how beautiful this is."
Okay, now see, you talking to somebody that never, he didn't come get me. So I read about it. You know what I'm saying,
But
Ezekiel.
yeah, but I'm using that as an example, though. I'm using that as an example.
Everybody ain't got that gift to
No.
where, you know what I'm saying, he came and got him
Yeah,
and,
no.
and let him see some things.
I've seen so many different things in the astral, spiritually. When I talk, I usually give two different words because some people understand one, some people understand the other. So in the astral or in the spiritual, I've seen this, that, the other. I mean, freaking, there's things that I saw that I didn't want to see, but I needed to see because I needed to be prepared for certain things. And we'll talk about that off the camera.
Like a battle. Just having this conversation right now, I'm thinking maybe I'm a warrior because I've seen a lot of things in the spiritual too, but it's all been like on the battlefield.
I've seen some of that too. I mean, there's a lot of things that we all see when we're prepared, when we're ready, when God feels we're ready. And, in the end of it, it's like, for me, my job is to learn. And when the time is right,
Our job.
it's just to learn. It's period. It's just to learn and help whenever possible. So there's been times where God will send me somebody, whether it is God himself or through his angels, the good ETs, and it was my job to help them out for something. Then there's other times where just out of nowhere, there was some weird connection made, and they knew that I could give them an answer to something, or I can lead them to where the answer was or something. There's so many different situations where stuff like that has happened. So for me, like my ministry life is outside of the four walls of a church building. It's wherever I go, wherever I'm at, So it's like I'm learning things constantly, and then sometimes I don't sometimes I don't remember what I learned that night. But like, let's say 2 or 3 months down the road, something happens, and then I'm taken back to that memory of, yeah,
When is the last time you seen him?
Last night.
How often do you see him?
Well,
Wait, what?
Last night.
So, do you care to elaborate?
No, it was just like, they were just showing me.
Because they family now. These the same ones, or it be different ones?
Depends. Like the majority of the time is the same, but a lot of the time I see
So
other.
the same ones meaning like the ones that came up with you?
Yeah. Yeah.
So they are family.
Yeah. So that's the majority of the time, and then other times when I'm dealing with other ones, it's just like an introduction, like, hey, this person, this person, this person, this
So
person.
it's like they cousins.
Yeah,
So family,
yeah,
still
exactly,
extended family.
exactly. So
See, I just say that because that's a problem that I have. Like I don't know how to have friends. That's why I have an issue with friends. If for real, if I can't look at you like my family, you know what I'm
hmm
saying? And like I don't, I'm not. I wasn't raised to where you had to pick up your wallet or purse because a guest was coming over.
hmm
You know, everybody that came in the house was treated like family
hmm
because that's who you have in your home, family. You don't have people in your home that you don't look at as being someone that respects you and your family. You know, you care for them. You offer them food. If they need a place to sleep,
hmm
you know what I'm saying? Then they sleep there, and you don't have people that just that are like bums, you know
hmm
what I'm saying, trying to get over on you, which still family.
Yeah.
Um
No, and then a lot of the other times I'm having these experiences, and this is where the shared memories with other people come in. So like like me and Miles, Miles. Me and Miles, we've had shared memories of we're in a cave or in some kind of like weird like train track type of thing or whatever. It's just and to be honest with you, I have no idea if this is the actual memory or like a screen image of what they want us to see now, and then later they'll reveal what was really happening, because that's one of the things that that's very common among the contactees is that
Now where is Miles from?
he's in Maryland.
But so he's not from Connecticut,
No,
right?
no.
But you guys connected how long
A couple years ago,
ago?
about 2 or 3 years ago, yeah.
Through
Through a mutual
your
friend.
artistry?
No, through a mutual friend. It was just a mutual friend who started a contactee group, and we just, we started talking,
A
and
what?
a contactee group. It's a Facebook group for other contactees. People who,
Oh,
yeah,
so it was open.
yeah.
So quite possibly, well, undoubtedly, um, the ETs that had contacted you were either in relation to the ones that contacted him, it was still a circle.
Most of the time that's what it is a circle, and a lot of the times like 95, 98% of the time, and I'm going to keep saying those numbers, 95, 98% of the time, like the people that we end up meeting because of like something like this, we've known them all our lives because we've been taken up together.
Hmm.
So like me and him, we have shared experiences from like adulthood now up to like when we were kids. That sometimes we have these dreams of these memories when we were kids, and we're sharing it with each other. He's like, holy crap, look, like did you see
So
that?
do
Yes.
you think your spirit was the reason why they chose you
I have no
to
idea
be
why they chose
one of
me.
the ones blessed to, be able to open up and get to know them?
I have no
Because
idea.
everybody won't be so acceptable. You still got people that maybe try to capture them and keep them to show proof or to try to get money.
Yeah, yeah, no, like
You
me
got some evil folks out there.
yeah, like me personally, I have no idea why. I have no idea why. I mean, depending on who you ask, some people say that it goes on through the generations. So
Right. I was gonna mention that.
like my mom,
So
she
do you
was
have any other family members?
like my mom definitely.
So they was already in relation with her.
Yeah.
And what about your dad?
Not that I know of, no. He doesn't have the signs that most of us contactees have. But it's mainly through my mom's side of the family.
And is that something that you want to discuss? Signs?
Not now.
All right.
The signs are the easiest sign is the ringing of the ear. If you have like a really high pitched ringing in the ear that never, like for me, uh like even now you hear the ringing of the ear, but because I've had it for so long, It basically it becomes white noise. Like the only time it ever really affects me is when it changes, the pitch changes for whatever reason, and then I'm like, I get a migraine or something like that. But like in the beginning, when you're a child and you're hearing it for the first time, and it's like, it hurts. And like I was saying earlier, right? In the middle of the night, I'll be up and I'm hearing the ringing in my ear. But then I'm also seeing things and I'm also feeling things and whatever. Like I feel like my mouth will get dry or something, and it would feel like like there's something in my mouth. It's just a weird feeling. And but that's like the usually one of the top signs that somebody's a contactee or abductee, depending on who you ask. You have some people that'll say that contactees, they had it in their soul contract that they agreed to it before they became a human on Earth. I really don't know. The way I say is that it's possible because even the Bible says that God knew us before we were in the womb. He knew our
Right.
spirit, he knew our soul. So it's very possible that as when that time came, God came to us, our soul, he created us, whatever, and it was like, yeah, this is what's gonna happen. Do you agree? Yes. Okay, great. Go down. It's just all depends. I'm always in the search for truth, and even if it's something I don't agree with, I keep it in the back burner because I always go back to it. I don't
So
have a
you
definite
can't.
yes or no.
So they do all, or so they're the aggressor as far as the teaching, the taking. You don't have any say so as far as being able to ask any questions.
With the
It's
good ones,
still just a
yes.
shop.
With the good ones, yes.
So have you ever? And it appears
Always.
that I'm gonna have to. I have less than a minute. I'm on that
Just press the link
timer.
again. Press that link again when it takes you off. Just press the link again when it takes you off. But
At
with the
least it gives me a warning.
yeah.
Let me end on a good note.
Yeah. But yeah, no, with the good ones, yes, the bad ones, no. Because the bad ones are working with the governments and things like that.
Okay, so the bad ones came to you. You're not protected by the good ones. That's
No,
family.
no, no, no. I don't. I no. When I say I've dealt with the bad ones, I don't mean that they've taken me. It's more of like the good ones took me around, and they're like, yeah, these are the bad ones. Don't worry, you're good, you're set. They're not gonna mess with you. Like that type uh, of a thing that happened. You know.
So you covered by the
Yeah,
good one.
yeah, yeah. And and here's the thing with the bad. Okay. All right, so we're gonna have to go back. I have to start a new meeting. Oh my goodness, everybody. I apologize. I apologize. I know. Oh, there's a lot going on. All right, so I'm gonna have to send her a link again. Uh, you know what? I'm gonna have to go through StreamYard or something. I'm gonna have to go through StreamYard or another. I think I have an idea. She'll be back, y'all. She'll be back. Oh my goodness, I hate when this happens. Oh my lord. But so I can finish what I was saying is that yeah, no, it's I'm protected from the bad ones. I guess would be the best way to say it. It would be the best way to say it. I'm protected from the bad ones. I'm just waiting for her to press the link. I'm just waiting for her to get on. I apologize, everybody. I'm gonna have to go through StreamYard or OBS Ninja or something. Make it easy. Just easier. Then I wouldn't have to worry about none of this stuff. All right, everybody. So as I'm paying attention to this, as I'm paying attention to this, and I'm trying to get things to keep working. Okay. So where was I? So yeah, so it's interesting. It's an interesting life, you know what I mean? This is the first time on my channel that I am doing this to be for Tabisha's channel, her Facebook, and here she's back. Hello. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome. I was about to say your breasts were showing.
Ah! My son in the background, like, get the cleavage out of the camera right now. Look, even the cat got up.
It's like
like everybody else.
It's like, who you showing them breasts to?
They don't even want to be bothered with you until somebody else giving you attention.
Right. But hey.
Now where we left off at, the good and the bad, and the fact that these ETs are basically family to you, and the majority of us don't even realize that they've been involved with ETs that are endowed family, good and bad, you know, because everything is moved by spirit. It just basically depends on your spirit and the things that you're into. Because I did experience a couple of encounters at a young age, like the first grade. And when I told my grandmother that I seen something that resembled a demonic spirit in the house, they were like, oh, well, that's just because your family is into demonic activities. And so those spirits, sit there and they, they're there. So I'm believing that everybody is surrounded. We are sharing the universe with our other angelic as well as extraterrestrial brothers and sisters. And I guess it just depends on the type of spirit you have as far as if they will allow themselves to be exposed to you. Because there's folks sitting up getting high right now with, ETs right next to them, smoking just as well.
Going back into a biblical scriptures, be careful. How can I put it? Be careful how you act, because you could be entertaining an angel, and you may not know it. And the thing is that the demons are fallen angels. So that scripture would mean it doesn't matter, whether you were entertaining.
Where's that scripture at?
Oh my gosh! See now you gotta make me look up.
Yes, I am.
Oh my gosh! 1
I
second.
mean, we're artists. That's what we do. We have content. We,
Uh,
feed people. And I'm a little jealous that I don't have no soda.
okay. All right. That would be Hebrews 13.
All right, you go with your bad self.
Hebrews
That's what I'm
13,
talking about.
verse 2. Be not forgetful to entertain strangers, for thereby some have entertained angels unawares. Angels unawares.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. So no, but altogether, it here's like when it comes to the bad ETs, you can, if you've been dealing with bad ETs, you've been dealing with the demonic. You have the power to stop it. Here the main thing with the demonic bad ETs is that they work with the world governments. They're like, hey, okay, like in the ufology field and all that stuff. Uh, everybody knows about Dwight D. Eisenhower and all the other presidents, that there was a deal that was cut with a certain group of aliens, that if they gave the government certain technology, that those ETs were allowed to experiment on human beings. And one of the things that I've said to people is like, you need to take control of your life back, because just because those presidents were voted into here in the U.S., right? Just because those presidents were voted into office does not give them the right over to control your personal free will, your personal livelihood, your personal anything. A person in government is not in charge of your personal life, of your personal spiritual life, your personal physical life, or anything. But so that's kind of like the bad ET's way of getting around free will. But so once people recognize that, wait a minute, just because they were voted in does not give them the right over me, you can make a stand. You can make a stand and be like, look, y'all need to stop, leave me alone. Okay, just because I voted
I know a little bit about a lot of things, and unfortunately, we'll have to have another show, but just as an introduction to the fact that being that we live in a corporation of the United States, if you take the time to look at the White House and the executive orders,
oh, I know.
as well as the technology, you will see that it's documented that we are not of ourselves at all. So
Depends on who
if
you ask.
you don't have a relationship with your spiritual father, then you are kind of on your own, in which case you will be an experimental statistic
But
and have been since birth.
here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. This is where people have to wake up. Okay, this is where people have to wake up and take control. How do they take control? Is by starting to have a spiritual relationship with the Father.
Amen.
That's the best way to take control. If a demonic, like people, a person who made a deal with the devil, the only way out of that deal with the devil is to go to the Father, and that deal can and will be broken. So it's one of the things is that regardless if this is a corporation, and I use the air quotes because I'm half and half on it, on whether that's what's really happening or not. I'm still researching it. But if we are a corporation or whatever, it's still, we're still spirits, in these bodies. We're still spirits in these bodies.
Right. If you look at the executive orders, we sold up body and spirit.
But guess what? Because of free will,
I think China own us right now.
No. God gave each and every one of us free will. Okay? He gave us free will. There's nothing anybody can do to take that away from us. It doesn't matter if we're a corporation. It doesn't matter if we're a democracy. It doesn't matter if we're a republic. It doesn't matter nothing. God gave us free will. Nobody can take that away from us. Nobody can take away our free will. So if God gave us the free will, then who's the government to say, no, you don't have it? This is what's going to happen. So it doesn't really matter what paperwork they sign with these ETs. Guess what? That paperwork is null and void. Is null and void. I mean, it doesn't mean crap.
Well, America is a business.
Doesn't matter. We're as the human race, as human beings, God gave us free will. It doesn't matter.
Which take us back to the question at hand. Being that we live in a corporation,
what is a human being?
America is a business. What is exactly a human being? Because again, that's just in the books that they gave us and what they told us. Now, when we born, you know what I'm saying? It's a coin toss. When you born, you don't know what's being put into the baby. You don't know what's being put into the mother. We even have, are you familiar with Morgellons?
Some stuff, yeah. Not everything, but some stuff.
So we also have to realize that it's a lot of different experiments that's been going on since before time.
Oh, that's a definite. That's a definite.
That, with cutting that cord, with the fact that the mother can't see the baby, for a second. They hold your baby. You hold your baby for a second after that child is born. They take that baby into the room, do whatever they do.
All the needles and everything, and
either circumcise them, cut the cord. Some parents have kept the umbilical cord for later on down the line if they have issues with where they need blood, and some parents haven't. But we don't know what's being injected. Also, going to the dentist, especially low income families. We don't you don't know what's inside of those fillings. You don't know what's inside of those shots, where the Bible tells us about time released things that's going on in the world, to where each one of us have certain things in our bodies from the experimentation, from the corporation having to pay a debt, and we are the commodities that they're using to pay the debt off with.
But in the end,
order to bargain with.
But in the end, it is through our relationship with the Father that cancels that.
Yes, sir.
It is through our relationship with the Father.
I'm in agreement with that.
So here, how can I put it? In the end, is like we were saying from the beginning, this is all spiritual. It is all spiritual. Mm-hmm. One of the things that the devil is, and these demons, these bad ETs, they're trying to do, they're trying to sever our spiritual ties to God, whether it is through medication, through technology, through whatever. They're trying to sever our spiritual connection to God, or as other people would say, the universe. We have to fight in our own way to keep our connection with God, and regardless of this debt that the government officials have gotten themselves into, we have to say, look, I'm not part of that debt. I don't care what you promise them. I'm not part of that debt. And you keep that relationship with God. because in the end, it doesn't matter what they did or what they're doing. God is seeing what you're doing. God is seeing what you're doing to keep that relationship with Him, and He's and He provided, and as a Christian, right? As a Christian, I'm like, He provided Jesus Christ as our way for forgiveness of sins. But like the Bible says, is that faith without works is dead.
It said that in the Bible.
Hold on.
I'm just saying, so that
James,
we can give the
James
people
chapter
the facts.
James chapter 2 verse 20.
All right, amen.
Okay.
Get my book.
All right.
Oh, I got one right here. The breakdown.
Faith. Okay. Actually, sorry. James chapter 2 verses 14 through 26. But okay. But what does it mean? Faith without works is dead. It doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that if we don't do works, we're not saved. It doesn't mean that. Because if we get saved through Jesus Christ, right? We're saved, but we have to continue. Like if we mess up, we ask for forgiveness, but the works part into it. What's the works part? The works part into it is to continuously try to better our lives, continuously try to bring more people to be freed of these demonic beings, the demonic presence.
While I look this up, just to confirm, you said James chapter what? 2 verse
14 to 26.
James chapter 2
verses 14 to 26. That's pretty much where you're.
Now, what's your definition of saved? And I'm just asking for the people. What do you mean saved?
Saved. Our soul is saved.
Okay, I thought you said saved.
No, saved. And Miles Moonbases, aka Mysterious Moonbases, what are your thoughts on the missing book in the Bible? It's missing.
About what?
What are your thoughts on the missing book in the Bible? Depends on which book you're talking about.
Which missing book?
Because people say that the book of Enoch is a missing book, or the book of the testimony of Mary Magdalene is a missing book. It depends on which one you're talking about.
Missing book. Which one is he talking about?
Exactly.
Because ask him to elaborate a little bit more.
Yeah, because
I have been studying the book of Enoch. Okay. And
or the Gospel of Thomas, or
I love Thomas. I was able to resonate with Thomas. You know what I'm saying? I really, really was. A lot of people have it questioned about the fact about the Holy Spirit. It's a lot of controversy with the Holy Spirit, whether it's male or female, and I don't even understand how anybody can continuously put a gender on the spirit. But
God is God.
Because of them saying, one pastor said the Holy Spirit is a female. So the story was fabricated in regards to Mary being pregnant. And that story of Mary being pregnant goes all the way down to the African story of a queen that husband died, and his brother killed him. He chopped him up in 14 pieces. She found all the pieces, put them together, and she was a virgin when he died. And supposedly his spirit came and got her pregnant. And in representation to that story is the monument that's in Washington, D.C. right now. Forgot the proper name of the monument, but it's an African monument, which is the tall statue that's in front of the White House.
Okay.
But I have to get those correct names to give that information. But it's a lot of different ancient stories that came together with Christianity.
Here's my thing on the whole thing. It's like it's missing. You know, what are my thoughts on
But
it? You know, like the question, right? You know, what do I think about the missing books, right? And I'm like, okay, they're missing. Either it's either one of two things: either they were never in there, or they were taken out at some point. Either way, I don't care personally, because it is our job to read, research, and really study everything, and ask God for guidance
my
on
thoughts
what the truth is.
connection with that. It goes into play with seek and ye shall find.
Yeah,
Do not expect for everything to be inside this one book.
exactly.
We are talking about your entire life, your legacy, and your family. So it was purposely intended not to be, so that those that was wise enough to seek, it had to be something to find in order for the Bible tell you to seek.
Exactly.
You know?
And that's the thing, though. No, and I agree with you on that. I agree with you. I believe, you know what, a lot of things were purposely not put in there because God said, no, don't put this in here. They need to search for this.
You shall find. You know, so the ones that just sit there with this one book, holding it to their heart.
The one where they tell us, Miles says, the one where they tell us the truth about the ETs,
right,
that's
here
Enoch.
It just take you to the land. That's why you have pastors, real pastors. You know, they got their Bible, they got the breakdown of the Bible. Like even me, I got my King James, I got my my Word Bible to break down my King James.
I got my King James, NIV, ESV. I got
knowing the Bible 101 to break down each and every, and still it's still a lot of mysteries and contradictions.
Always.
And then I got my prayer.
Well, here's the thing, though.
Father, what's going on?
Here's the thing with the word contradictions. Okay, here's the thing with contradictions, and it's funny because I was speaking with a Muslim friend of mine, and he was trying to use certain scriptures. You see, this says this here, but then it says this here, so it's a contradiction. And I said, okay, well, think about it like this. From the time, how many years have passed by from the time of Moses, where he wrote the first 5 books, all the way to the after Christ, after Christ, where the book of Revelation was written. Okay, let's say over 4,000, 5,000 years, maybe longer. From the first 5 books all the way to the book of Revelation. How many? You had the scribes that were basically copying the words, word per word, for generations. Somewhere down the line, somebody had to make a mistake. It's not, and the thing is that it's not a contradiction. It's just a mistake. But throughout the years, you have scholars that they, like even now, right, in 2022, you have scholars that are studying these things, and they're like, wait a minute, whoever translated it in this here, this is not what they were supposed to write, because they have a lot of the original.
It's not like the Bible was used for its intent for the people.
No, that's another thing too.
About money from the beginning. It was used to control. That's why they only had.
I gotta disagree with you. I gotta disagree with you. No, I'm not saying no. Here, I'm not disagreeing you full. I'm not in full. What I'm saying is, in the beginning, God says, "Okay, write these words down." Okay, that's what he told him.
I'm saying
now.
We know what he said.
Yeah,
I'm saying what the people did. Though.
I know, but this wasn't. But how can I put it? It's okay. Think about it like this. God told me to write something down, and then for as long as I live, I'm teaching it the way that God told me to teach it, and then I teach other people to teach it the same way that God told me, and then it happens for a lot of generations, and all of a sudden somebody down the line is being lazy, and they're thinking about money, and then all of a sudden the world is in chaos. The world is in chaos, and that
So why is it that they didn't want anybody else to have a copy? Now remember Tinsdale. No,
and that's the thing is that
because of the control.
Yeah.
Even though you're teaching it, I couldn't have one in my hand too.
No, but here's the thing.
Because that would have took away your power.
No. Here's the thing with it. From the beginning, anytime God had to step in, everybody was allowed. Everybody was allowed. Then somewhere down the line, they forget what God really wanted, and they start having a power grab. And then next thing you know, after a certain amount of generations, like the judges, right? Like let's use Samson as an example. Samson had to reteach the people, look, God wanted it this way. You need to do it this way. And then they go back into the way that God wanted things, and then several generations later they go back into the same. See, history repeats itself where God had to step in and be like, no, I want it this way. No, I want it this way. Jesus Christ, same thing. He said he had to come down and be like, look, the Father wants it this way. Stop the nonsense. The Father wants it this way. Then he gets crucified, right? And then next thing you know, his disciples start teaching it. They start teaching it, and then next thing you know, several, like 2,000 plus years later, next thing you know, you got like the Catholic Church controlling everything, and then you got all these other pastors controlling.
Losing his life to give everybody a copy.
Yeah.
Which nobody wanted everybody they didn't want everybody to have a copy. Why? Because that would take away the control and power.
Yeah.
Because you have men that wanted to be gods from the beginning.
Yeah, but
they want to be treated and acted as if they were gods, so they want to be the only source of the knowledge.
No, and I agree
that was left for all of us.
No, and I agree with you, but to say that that's how it's always been from the beginning, I can't agree with you. Yes, history repeats itself where mankind gets greedy and they want the power, but God always comes down. God always comes down.
I'll break it down to say it's always been someone.
Yeah, but that's with everything,
took advantage and took away from what was intended.
But that's with everything, though. That's why, like me personally,
to be superior.
Yeah, but now think about it like this. Now in 2022, we see it every day where you have these pastors. They're like, no, it's this way, not that way. No, you can't. No, you cannot learn
now
about
in 2022. We still dealing with it.
Yeah,
we dealing with it on the level that we're speaking of right now.
You do have a lot of people. Yeah, because,
all right.
Yeah, because you do have a lot of people. But you know what?
Now we know the ETs is out here. They've been here longer than us. We know that they've been interacting with people, with government, and the information that they have is hidden because that would take away from the power.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
But guess
that they
what?
have
now,
over people.
Yeah, but guess what? Now, compared to back then, now we have information passing around everywhere. They can't stop the information from passing. All they can do is try to make somebody look crazy. All they can do is try to make somebody look like they're evil through rumors and lies and stuff like that. Well, guess what? I've been dealing with that my whole life. Anytime I try to bring the truth, somebody says, oh, Sway doesn't know what he's talking about. Sway is crazy. Sway is just a piece of garbage, blah, blah, blah. But guess what? I still keep going.
What information can you give to people to help them start on their quest for the truth so that they can embark a spirit that may possibly allow the ETs to be more acceptable to revealing themselves to others?
The best thing I can tell people
to be open-minded, because they're so closed-minded. You know what I'm saying? It's a possibility.
Like for a Christian who's closed-minded. Okay, a Christian who's closed-minded, the best thing I can tell them is to pray to God. Say, God.
So should they be frightened?
No. I mean, at first they will when they see them, but
what they look like?
It depends on which one you're dealing with.
How many different looks have you experienced?
At least 15, 20 different ones. You have the traditional grays. You have the Nordics, the ones that look like human. You have those the felines, they look like cats. You have the canine that they look like dogs. You have the bug types, they look like bugs. Like the mantis. You have some bug ones that are like they have like 9 eyes, and I mean, it just depends on which one you're dealing with. But when you're dealing with the good ones, yeah, you might freak out, but they'll show you some of them, they'll show you some love. They will show you know that they're not there to harm you, and then little by little, your fear starts to go. The best thing I can tell anybody is just to pray to God and say, God, I want you to reveal this stuff to me. I want to see these things. I want you to let me experience this. Take away any fear that I have. You have to have
So
a spiritual life with God first, where you tell God, please, I really want you have to show God that you really want this. Because guess what?
now,
Once here's the thing is that once you open that door, there's no way to close it.
right. Would you say that the lost city of Atlantis has anything to do with ETs?
Um, I would say when it comes to the lost city of Atlantis, I think the lost city of Atlantis was basically where a lot of the fallen angels were. Um, it was basically where this is just my opinion on it, my thoughts on it. I believe is where a lot of the fallen angels were, and where the, that was like their central hub into controlling mankind with the different religions and things like that. I think the reason why Atlantis, you know, sank and what have you is because there was a war between them and the angels of God, and it needed to God needed to destroy it. Period. But again, that's just my thoughts and opinions on it. Like I said, everything is connected. Everything is connected.
Right?
Even the mythologies of Zeus and all that. The Hindu religions. Everything is connected. And
Exactly. I
w-
believe that.
but
And it's
how are they
knowledge in
connected?
everything in order for the things that you're dealing with to
Yeah.
come together.
Now
And I'm on that quest right
yeah.
now
Now
and I'm finding out.
the question is how are they connected?
Well, I believe that it just depends on each individual's walk because we all have a different walk, and the word tells us, seek and ye shall find.
Mm-hmm.
The different places that your walk takes you and your quest for the truth, which is your truth. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Your truth of what your destiny is, because we all wear so many different hats.
Exactly.
So the information that I might find inside, like when I went into the Quran, the information I found in there was important to what I was dealing with in my life at the time. And then it led me to um, other scriptures going back to my Bible, and I'm still on the quest. But depending on what you have going on in your life, you gave me information in regards to the Quran that was on a whole different level. So now it expanded my mind to go into another quest, as well as the information that you sent me when we spoke about the Star of David.
With the Merkabas,
So
yeah.
now, that was questionable, just to digress for a moment, because I'm looking into the fact that, wow, now I'm of African heritage. So when I start searching into the African Bibles, into the heritage that they said my people was accustomed to, the things that they say that it's not supposed to be in the King James is just what we were accustomed to. And as well as what my grandmother used to tell me about, as far as our cooking, our caring for each other with our medical and our praising. So it's like, what is witchcraft? What is traditional? And then is it white magic and black magic? It's still a vast amount of questions for me, but this is my quest.
Mm-hmm.
So on your walk, with your journey and what your destiny is, the same books that I may have will give you a different description of what everything means because you have a different destiny
No,
than
I
me.
can agree with that.
So
I can agree with
I
that.
think that everybody is supposed to see, and then we still have to be adult and mature enough to come together to be able to elaborate because it could just be like a little sprinkle
No, I
of
agree.
something from like what I give you and what you give me to expand the whole recipe. You know what I'm saying? Like putting salt on it for
No, I
somebody
agree.
that don't salt.
Yeah.
And then you come along and be like, hey, you never heard of salt? Well, no, we don't eat salt. I make my own ingredients. And then you come and sprinkle some salt and then drop some hot sauce out your pocket and it just blow up my whole dish. And I'm like, whoa, you know what I'm saying?
And
Dang.
right to
Where,
my
you know what
adobo.
I'm saying? Where that come from? Like, what, you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? I don't know nothing about no hot sauce. Was that salt?
No,
Where do you
no,
get that
no, and that's the one thing, and that's the one thing I always tell people, right? Is like, everybody has their truth, everybody has their thing. I'm not gonna discourage anybody from their truth, but I want to learn. I want to, even if I don't agree with somebody necessarily, but I still
like
want to
this chicken
learn.
tender, right? My
Yeah.
son just made chicken tenders. It's really tasty, right?
Mhm.
But when you dip it in this mayonnaise, you know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna have to try that at some point. But
It
no,
just gives it a
yeah,
whole it makes it a whole different dish.
yeah, no.
Like when I worked at McDonald's, I used to dip my chicken nuggets in tartar sauce. I do not even want chicken nuggets unless I eat it with tartar
You
sauce.
should try with Big Mac sauce. When I used to work at
You know what I'm
McDonald's,
saying?
yeah, when I worked at McDonald's, right, I would do my chicken nuggets and the Big Mac sauce. Oh my goodness, that was good. I never tried it in tartar
So
sauce, but I gotta try that now. See, now I'm hungry.
just like our studies, if and we were intended to be with each other and expand and converse with one another and share our wisdom, share the knowledge, but not to. That's why it does tell us in the Bible that the word is not to be debated and argued over, because our wisdom and knowledge that we all obtain is for each one of our own truth,
Mhm.
and we're supposed to respect the other person's
No, exactly.
and take what we can get from it.
No, exactly. And that's what I was saying, right? It's like I may not necessarily agree with somebody, but doesn't mean that I'm gonna think that they're wrong. I'm just gonna be like, I disagree. Okay, but cool. I think the main problem that we have is that everybody, for the most part, everybody, every person, I guess, they want to be right. They want to, have all the. I'm like, I don't have all the answers. I don't know. I can tell you
So,
what I do know, but I'm not gonna say
have the
I'm right,
ETs
you're
ever
wrong,
talked to you
huh?
and gave you any rules?
What? Say that again about the rules.
Have the ETs ever gave you any rules? Are there any rules? They just started to
Don't mess.
converse with
Don't
you
mess.
and obtain the relationship as far
Don't
as
mess.
you know.
Don't mess with somebody's
Hmm?
free will. Is number one.
So they have, like, you guys have had discussions. This was an out of body.
And with physical body in there.
So you just be like chilling in your bed and they just pop up.
Like I'll fall asleep first, and then because there's a whole process to
Never
taking
when
it.
you up.
Nah, I'll tell you this. I've had maybe like two experiences where, okay, like a couple years ago, I'm watching TV and my body becomes paralyzed, and one of them sits down next to me and we're watching TV together for like 15 minutes. And then I
And it's so
immediately,
natural now.
yeah. And it's nothing for me, but I'm like, look, I'm able to
So
look at him, and
they can
then,
like pass you the popcorn.
if anything, yeah, yeah. I mean, I didn't have popcorn that day, but if they were passing me the
I'm
popcorn, I was
saying no,
like,
but they really family.
yeah,
So they just sit down and it's like, oh, what's up, Joe?
yeah, pretty much. And the
How
main
long you
thing,
gonna be here?
yeah, no, no,
What's
and
going on out there?
yeah, and it was like 15 minutes. We're watching something together. Then he goes, and it's funny because I immediately called a friend of mine. It's a mutual friend of me and Miles. I gave him a call. I was like, "Yo, bro, you won't believe what just happened." And I told him exactly what happened. And next thing you know, it's like, oh, okay, cool. But the main thing is that I don't, when it comes down to it, altogether, like the rules is basically don't mess with somebody's free will. Period. Don't mess with somebody's free will. That's just the number one rule. And then only tell certain things when it's necessary. Like you remember the other day we're having a conversation. I said, "Well, I can't tell you yet."
Right.
You know what I mean? And they'll let you know. They'll tell you, "No, you can't tell them this yet." If you think, if you remember the book of Daniel, right? He looked at a scroll. He looked at a scroll
Mm-hmm.
of information, and God tells him to eat that scroll and don't reveal what's on that scroll.
Tastes like chicken.
You know what I mean?
No, I remember that.
Well, like what, honey baked chicken or something like that.
Yeah, but it's gonna be real sour when it hits your belly.
Right? Yeah. But so it's basically it's the same deal. It's the same deal. Like certain things I just can't tell. Certain things I just can't. At least not yet. But when the time comes, I do tell. So there's been times, like there's been times I'm having conversations with somebody, and I'm like, okay, tell them this, pop, 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 and we got less than 1 minute. But then other times they let me to say no, tell them everything. So it just
So
depends.
messing with somebody will, so that mean that to they're not able to take over somebody else's body
No, they could, they just don't. And we're talking about the
because
good
that is
guys, the good
free
guys.
will.
Yeah,
So everybody that's involved with them is a willing spirit.
yeah, yeah. And the thing is that they're not going to possess you. The good ones, at least the good ones, they don't possess you. Because they just don't, because that goes against the rules. Now, when you're dealing with the demonic, the evil ones, yeah, they don't care. But even then, like vampires, you have to invite them in.
You gotta be out and you gotta be in the neck of the woods, not covered by the blood.
Exactly. Oh, and we got let go. We got let go. All right, I gotta start a new one. Gotta start a new one. All right, invite, invite. Now I gotta send another one. Now we just gotta wait for her to come on. This is interesting though. This is very interesting. Interesante. But yeah, Miles. Yeah, we're talking about the Book of Enoch. That, like I said, is just missing. If it's missing for a reason. And you know what, bro, we had to search for it. It's that simple. Sometimes God uses the devil's children. That's the saying that people in church will say. God uses the devil's children for His purpose as well. All right, we're just waiting. We're waiting. We're waiting. We're waiting. All right, you know what? I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this for now, like that. All right, give me 1 second.
No. Okay, people, I'm back. Sway had to go to the bathroom or make him something to eat because I know it was very difficult watching me slam that tasty chicken with that mayonnaise and that tomato with that water. Roman, can you give me a glass of water? So, I'm sure he had to go get a snack, but let me keep it going here. Cold water in a glass, please. So, in conclusion, basically, The time that Sway had with the extraterrestrials, which he said they came just last night, all right, has to be looked up on and embraced over the fact that we are not here alone, which you hear that so often. And you can either make a conscious choice to believe or not to believe as far as the stories that he's telling in regards to his experience. But you do have to realize that it's time for you to become aware that you have to wake up and seek understanding. And most importantly, if you don't have a relationship, I'm not forcing you to be part of my religion. I'm a child of God. I do believe in the Trinity, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. I have had several encounters where the Lord has made himself known to me, but we'd have to save that for another show. Everybody can't say that. And I am also crazy that we come together, the daughter of a preacher. So
I'm the
it's
son of a preacher.
that's why I said
Yeah.
a connection with the fact that, and all my aunts and my grandmother, all she ever did was work for the Lord, evangelists and missionaries. So it quite possibly may be a difference over the fact that there's a bloodline of spiritual um, connection with the Heavenly Father, in which case we would be under attack because not only do we have the wisdom, we have a conscience. You know, some of us don't, some of us do. I have a conscience. It used to be to where I got angry over it because I was pissed off, wondering why can't I do people dirty that do me dirty? Why I got to be nice? When I got people back, I feel bad about it still, and they deserved it, and I still feel bad about it. Like I still end up repenting, asking for their forgiveness when I'm paying them back. And for the longest time, I felt like I was not even built for this world because why do I have a conscience over people that did me dirty? If I've been broke, I mean broke, and found a wallet with money in it and gave it back to that person, when the first thought would have been, oh, look at this blessing, because I didn't have nothing. I just came up. But that's not how the Lord works. And now I've given the wallet back and the people didn't give me nothing and I still was broke. But you can't covet nobody else's money. That
Mm-hmm.
was their money. It wasn't mine.
Wow.
And so I wasn't able to take the money and go home with it, knowing that the person that's standing in front of me was the one that lost the wallet. And, I've still battled with that because I just feel like I was being somewhat of a sucker. Like, wow, why do I have a conscience? And these people can just wake up and do you dirty and talk to you crazy and not think nothing of it. But for me, you know, I'm hurt over it and feel like I'd like to make amends. So we all have a different walk. But this gentleman taking the time and opening up and sharing his world with us so that you take the time to search for your own truth and possibly realize that if you blinking a little bit because you think you've seen something you might have saw or felt something you might have felt, like too many times, I'm not lying, I've felt like something had brushed past me. Now, are they able to like appear and not appear?
Yeah.
Because it seems like they're playing games right now. Now, do you think that CERN is playing games with spirits right now? Let's get into it.
I think CERN, in connection with the demonic, they're opening portals to the demonic realms. How can I put this? I'll get you the scriptures later, but in the Bible it says that God placed a chasm between mankind and the demonic, and
Right.
he basically a force field, for lack of a better word, between our existence and theirs, so that way they couldn't cross over. But they found ways to to cross over through just through agreements. Like they can influence little things, and then they'll be like, hey, if you do this, I can cross over and I can give you power and things like that. So CERN is just another part of that. um CERN is just another part of that whole construct of trying to bring
Mm.
them over here. Trying to bring them over here, the demonic. And many are already here. Many are already here, and
Right.
but
Excuse
it's
me.
but it's just one of those things that they're trying to bring the full force, the full army. For another lack of better words, they're trying to bring the full army. And the thing is that the more CERN opens these portals, the more these things come in. You see, before
Can we travel through a portal?
I have no idea. I really don't know. Is it possible?
Okay.
Yes. I always say this: is it possible? Yes. But can we? Maybe not physically. Maybe not physically. I don't know. Spiritually, we definitely can. In the astral, we definitely can. As far as physically, like the physical body that we have, that we're in now, I don't know. Um, I think it is possible. Yeah, I mean, for crying out loud, if I can remember this physical body phasing through my ceiling to go on a ship, then anything is possible. So
Oh, wait. Back it up. So you didn't say that you have ship experience.
yeah, yeah. Remember, I was explaining that there's
No, no, I don't remember nothing.
okay. I said there's two things. There's the physical and the astral. The astral is the spiritual, and then there's the physical when they take me up on ship. So yes, I have. I mentioned it. I mentioned it. Yeah, yeah.
I don't remember that part. So back it up.
I've been on
Now,
ship.
what's up with the ship? What it look like?
Let me see.
Is that something you could talk about?
Not in great detail. um,
So
Mainly.
now, would you say to the people that, they just be flying around on the regular? Now, I would say that to the people because I'm not lying. Since coronavirus, I've been hearing more things flying than any airplane all around
No, here's
since coronavirus.
yeah, no.
Coronavirus, I guess a lot of them came out.
I'll say
I
like
believe
this.
coronavirus was a call to say they're here.
Corona Coronavirus, in my opinion, coronavirus was definitely kind of like the flare in the sky, giving a signal like, hey, time to do something or whatever. And then not, but you also got to ask the question: is it ours or is it theirs?
What do you mean?
Is it our craft or is it theirs?
You know, when you speak about um the government is working with this, working with that, I think that people need to realize that when you are working with an ET or the government officials that folks are so angry with, a lot of them don't really have any control. Some of them, just like gangs, because I'm from California, were born into the position and they have to play their position. They have no control of the way they play the position. They are just a body making moves. So it's not like, people are mad at the government. A lot of the government is just like um a image. It's just the
Yeah,
image.
it's a bot.
They're not able to really make the moves like you want them to make. You know, they're born into the position. They were set up for the position to
They're basically
play out a
drones.
role.
They're basically drones. That's what they are. They're drones. A lot of them
Right.
are. And the thing is, so when you're talking about craft and things like that, that's why I say, is it our? What do you mean by? Do you mean by their craft or our craft? Our craft, the ones that the government has built. You know, and many of the times, you have the bots. You have those bots, those drones that they bring in all these scientists, and they're like, hey, look at this cool stuff. You think you can build it? And these scientists, they have no idea, they have no clue that they're talking to a drone who really has no life force. They're just a flesh and blood body with no soul, with no spirit in there. It's just for reference, right? Like the newest Matrix movie that came out, right? It's like certain
What's the name of it? So I can watch it. Tell the
resurrect
people.
resurrection, I think. Matrix Resurrection.
And do you know the crazy thing? Everybody speak about us living in simulation, which I believe it. The fact that it is like very difficult to find the movie Matrix. Netflix don't have it. Hulu don't have it. Does YouTube have it?
Not the new one. Or if they do have it, you got to pay for it.
The old one.
The old ones, no, Netflix did have the old ones. I don't know if they're still on there now, but I was
No,
watching it.
they're not.
I was watching it a few months ago. Last time I saw it.
They only got the sex matrix. Now, how do the ETs feel about sex? Are they part of why the world is being like extra sexed right now? Everything is surrounded by sex.
The good ETs is more. There's nothing like. From my experience, the good ETs there's really like no sex. It's just they're their own beings. They do what they do. They do whatever the father wants them to do. However they act, act and react and what have you. It's more of the negative ETs that deal with the sex, and it's because they're trying to find a way to bypass their mistake that they made when they went against God during the heavenly wars between where the angels when they fell. They're trying to bypass by finding some way to get their own soul or their own way into heaven. That's basically the main reason for a lot of the hybridization programs and things like that. They're trying to find a way back into heaven. So, and a lot of them, when they fell, they became sex maniacs and what have you. Um, I don't know if the good ones, if they experience like sexual attraction or anything like that. I don't know that. I never asked. And if they do, they know how to control it. But compared to us humans, how many of us, if we don't control it, it controls us. With them, if they do experience it, they know how to control it way better. It's usually the evil demonic ones that are more interested in the reproduction and all that stuff. At least from my experience, from what I've seen, from what I've witnessed. Um, I'm sure there's other people that can answer it better than I can because they've experienced certain things more than I have. But like me personally, from my own experience, it's not really a thing that's done. It's just more of like they know that it happens down here, and they know that that's how life. They know about reproduction and all that stuff, but it's not something that they do because it's not.
How do they reproduce?
I don't think they do necessarily. I don't think they do like like they're not out there getting married or whatever. You know, they're
I
just
mean, with one another, how do they
no. That's what I'm saying. I don't think they do. I don't necessarily think they do. I think a
do
lot
they
of
lay eggs?
no. I think if they
What?
do,
Why you laughing?
no. I'm just no. I think if they do, I think if they ever do, is kind of like us, where they mate, they have sex and
They made.
give birth and stuff like that. But
I'm saying because they came to be through the Father.
yeah,
So they came to be through the Father, and so we all was sitting here to share, but a couple of them crossed over into levels that they wasn't supposed to.
hmm
Just like, we do as humans,
hmm
doing stuff that we ain't got no business, going places like people putting hands on stuff that they don't have no business putting their hands on.
exactly.
And so, but they don't lay eggs. They don't.
Like I said, I don't know enough about it to really give you an answer. I don't know enough about it. It's not something that I've seen. It's not something that I've researched or heard about too much. All I know about is basically the hybridization programs with the evil ones. But as far as on the good side, what I call the good side, I don't know enough about it. I never asked. I never
Well, tell us
inquired.
about that. What do you mean hybridization programs?
Well,
Is that something you could elaborate on?
the evil ones, and they're creating hybrids, and the reason why is because, like I was saying earlier,
Define hybrids for the people, please.
half human, half them. They think that by creating a half human, half them, that they're able to transfer themselves into that being, and all of a sudden, because they're half human, that they have some kind of a soul that they can go back into the source when that body dies. That's how I understand it.
Mm.
That's how it was explained to me. But the thing is that there's the Father will never allow that to happen. When the final war happens, between God, His angels, and Satan and his demons, uh, the Father's gonna end it all. It's gonna end it all, and unfortunately, um, a lot of people will die and go the same route as the evil ETs and all that, and but they made their choices. Now to the people that are being affected, that are being basically raped and violated and having their sperm and eggs taken from them to create these hybrids. It's they're victims of rape. Pretty much, that's what it is. They're victims of rape because none of these creatures care about their well-being. And there's a lot going on that uh, I can
You would
say.
call them creatures?
Yeah, I would call them creatures. Here's the thing: is that altogether, uh, in a sense, every one of them, they're people, just like us. They're just a different type of person. But the evil ones, they made their choice. They made their choice, and they regret their choice. And now they're trying to find a way to reverse that choice. But there's no way for them to reverse that choice. They don't have free will. In other words, not that they can't make decisions, but free will meaning the gift to freely choose whether they want to worship the Father or not. They don't have that. They don't
They
have.
lost that.
They lost that. Well, they never had it. They never had the choice to. They never had the freedom to choose whether or not they wanted to worship the Father. They were angels. They were already in heaven. They were in the presence of the Father. Why would anybody want to choose not to have that? But they
Well,
chose.
they did choose not to have it though.
Exactly. But that's the whole thing, is that they, because of the fact that they didn't have the gift of God, the freedom to choose it. See, the gift of free will is the freedom to choose whether or not you want to worship the Father. They didn't have that freedom. They didn't have that freedom because why would you want to choose anything else? You're in a loving environment where you're feeling love and light
But
and
they had to have that freedom if they They already were there, and they chose not to. And now we got to deal with the repercussion of that.
No. If they had the freedom, if they had the freedom to choose whether or not they wanted to, then none of this would be happening.
I'm lost.
Okay, I gotta put it like this. Okay, you're at home, right? You're a little girl, right? You're a little girl. You got your mom and your dad, right? They make you something to eat, right? Let's say they made you chicken, right? They made you chicken, and that's all you're gonna eat. That's all you're gonna eat, but it's the best tasting chicken in the whole world. You know it tasted good. They said, look, either eat the chicken, you eat the chicken. Come on, eat the chicken. It's good for your health. It's good for you. But you choose to not listen to them. No, I don't want the chicken. Okay, then fine. Then don't eat. Go to bed. So it's like it's kind of like it's in that scenario of, well, I gave you this. Why would you want anything else? Why would you want anything else? Fine, you don't want it. Fine, bye. Go to bed. Go to bed hungry.
Okay, so they was up there with the Father, praising and worship the Most High, and then they decided we want to be like God, except we want to party like the people that He made in His own image. We don't want to be up here no more doing this. We want to have sex. We want to drink. We want to get high. We want to go kick it. So we're going to go ahead and give up our rights to be with the Father and choose to come down here. Who are rolling with? And now since we down here, we don't have we messed up. We can't go back. There's no going back.
Exactly.
So now we're going to have to figure out how to create a home down here. Is that it?
Pretty much, yeah.
Or what?
Pretty much, yeah. Because see, there's a difference between the freedom and the ability. They had the ability.
Now,
they had the ability to choose.
So, God, all knowing, all seeing, knew that this was going to happen. So, what's the repercussion?
Here's the thing: is that when it, if you're gonna go on a biblical aspect to it, it's the repercussion is that the thought
they're all gonna die.
No, yeah, like the thought behind it is God told them. God already told them. There's no way that there's no way that He didn't tell them. Look, if you decide, if you make this choice, there's no coming back. There's no way He didn't tell them that. There's no way He didn't tell them that. Because even us that as humans, as what we are here, if we're given the freedom to choose yes or no, God tells us, well, these are the repercussions. So them not having that freedom,
we are allowed to
come back.
Repentance.
Yeah, exactly. Because He gave us, because of the fact that God gave us the freedom to choose, He needed to give us an alternative to come back.
So we are the only species with free will.
As far as I know, yes. In that sense of He gave us a way to redeem ourselves. Now, depending on who you talk to, some people will say that, well, there's other beings that have a way to reconcile. I don't know enough about that to give you an answer, but from what I know, from my experiences, from my talking to the ETs, it's basically the rules of this world. The rules of this world were created for this world only. And for the beings that God created on this world, the human beings, the people, the you, me, those rules were created for us, not for the fallen angels. So which is why they're trying to do the whole hybridization thing, because if they can create a being that's half them, half, human, then that's kind of them trying to piggyback their way into the graces, because they're still working within the rules of, at least, again, that's how I understand it. I don't know it all. I don't, but as far as I understand it, that's not what it is. But um altogether, there's, you ever seen the movie Dogma?
No.
Oh my gosh, Kevin Smith and freaking Ben.
You're gonna have to send it to me,
Yeah,
or we can watch it
yeah,
together.
it's a good movie. It's a good movie. But the whole premise is that you had two angels that they were part of the fallen, and then the Catholic Church made it possible for any human to receive forgiveness. All they had to do was walk through the arches of one of the Catholic churches, and they're automatically forgiven. So these two angels, what they did was that, it was Ben Affleck, Ben Affleck and was it Matt Damon, and they're like, okay, so let's cut off our wings. We become fully human, and all we have to do is walk through the archway, and we're forgiven. We can go back home. So, in a sense, if you think about it, that's what's happening now with this hybridization program. It's like, well, we're gonna become partially human, so we'll have the same benefits as the fully human people when we finally die. All we have to do is accept Christ or whatever. It's one of those things where it's like, no, that's there's no back door. There's no way to uh, there's no way to come back for them, for those that fell. They think there's a way, but there isn't a way. So what's happening as well is that they're trying to take as many people with them as possible. They're like, hey, look, if we can't go back into the presence of the Father, then we're gonna take as many of His people as possible, meaning us human beings. So there's so many different things going on all at once. It's hard to kind of put them all into one thing, but it's like there's so many different things going on that it's like it's really crazy. But in the end, when the final war happens, God has the final say so as to what happens.
Right.
So, but like I said, it's like I don't know all the answers. I don't have all the answers, and I'm never gonna have all the answers. But from from what I understand it, you know what? All this craziness is happening is because many of them they know they screwed up. They know they screwed up and they're trying to get back. They know that they can't get back, but they're still trying to get back. So they do certain things. They do certain things to try to get favor with God. Other ones, they know they screwed up, but they're stubborn to admit that they screwed up, and they're too stubborn to realize that there's nothing they can do. So they do other stuff. And then you have others that they know they screwed up. Like you hear about the demons that possess people and whatever. They know they screwed up. They know they screwed up, and they don't care. They're gonna take as many people as possible. That's
Yeah, I mean, how can you care? It's too late now. It's nothing you can
exactly.
do
I mean,
but prepare for battle.
yeah. So there's so many different things going on all at once. It's not just the ETs. You have, these demonic ETs. You also have the traditional demons that we fight on a daily basis. You have the traditional demons that they're like, they pretend to be ghosts, and oh, I'm the spirit of little Mary Ann. My body was killed and it was buried in the backyard of this person's house. Like, they're trying to curry favor, or they're just trying to friggin' um fool people. There's just so many different things going on all at once, and that's kind of their way of dividing people into thinking that, no, it's this way, no, it's this way, no, it's all of it all together. They're pretending to be this, that, or the other, and they're just trying to divide us so that way we don't focus on God.
So they don't have nothing to do with finances, though, huh?
uh yes and no, it depends. Mainly it's if you got a greedy
No
person.
gifts.
No, it's like if you got a greedy person, you got a greedy person that that they own a big business or whatever, but they sold their soul. So these demonic beings, they do whatever they can to manipulate whatever they can to give that money to whoever, but in the end that person lost his soul, and there's only one way to come back if they realize it. And if they come, and then once they come back, then that's up to God with what happens with the money. But it's one of those things. It's like
Now
everything's
I'm talking about the
interconnected.
ETs.
Oh, the ETs. Again, it depends. When it comes to money and the ETs, it depends. Like the evil ones, I'll say yeah, because not that they need the money themselves, but they need their people to have enough money to
Right.
do all this stuff like CERN. So they got to manipulate.
We gotta have little trinkets, little gifts.
Exactly. Because they have, because or else these people won't work for them anymore.
And and this is true, it's sad. When I was coming up, um, there was girls that had no intent on being gay.
Mm.
But the one thing you knew, for some reason, all the butch gay women always had a lot of money. So the highlight, a couple of friends of mine, of being with a woman was the fact that she was going to cash you out. She was going to take care of you.
Mm.
Now, all they was thinking about was, man, my reputation, this and that, but I'm finna get a car and she gonna buy me clothes and, you know, I'm gonna be good. They wasn't thinking about the reason why they always had that money was because you was selling your soul. They had to convince you to doing something that didn't appear to be natural. And that's not me judging anybody. I'm saying the facts from when I was coming up. It was girls that were convinced of doing things because of their love for money that took them to a whole nother level.
Mm.
They didn't have morals. And that's where, all the spirits come together, where people have to realize that when you don't have a religious background and you don't have a family that's raising you with respect and morals and rules of the land, that you do have a lot of lost souls out here that's just open. And that's where we come in as a people to give the information and to open up the beacon of light, which they supposed to see shining in us, to understand that there's a way that you go about doing everything in life. And if you feasting on looking for a quick come up or a satisfaction from a material item, or having finances because of something that you're not accustomed to having, that will lead you into a long road of destruction. A lot of our young artists, men and women, are out here right now, and it's sad. I'm so tired of seeing where they say so and so sold they sold. And I think I mentioned it before, is that YouTube really, they got it bad. I guess it must be a trending topic to where everybody is interested in it. You just post it, and so many, millions of people will watch it,
Mm.
because I very seldom see any other nationality other than Black people, as if, the only way we could make it is selling our soul. I don't even see, it's no, even all the rappers, no white rappers have I seen on any of these posts to say that they sold to the devil. And all the gestures, if you look at all the devil worshiping Masonic gestures that they have, you basically can't do nothing. I can't even move my hands, because every movement in the world is a sign. That little thing that you're doing right
That's the
now.
sign.
That's the,
Oh no.
I, I can't even move my hands for no reason
Yeah.
because every movement they got pinpointed as a sign that
The,
you worshiping the devil.
the problem that we have is that we have a lot of overzealous people. A lot of people are just overzealous, and you know,
They fascinated with gothic and demonic
yeah.
activities.
And here's the
It's a
thing: is that
fascination.
no, and here's the thing: many of them are well intentioned. You know, they have good intentions on everything, but they overdo it. They overdo it, and they look like idiots when they try to say, "Oh no, this is demonic. No, this is demonic. No, this is not." Says who? You know, it's like, okay, like the lady that came out saying that the Monster Energy drink logo, the M, was a representation of 666, and she did a whole video on it and whatever. And I'm like, okay, and I've done research on this before, and I was like, so the fact that they hired an artist to draw a really cool M, and it happens to coincidentally look like 666 in the Hebrew means that this is a demonic company. Yeah, no. Sometimes coincidences do happen. Sometimes they do, you know, and it's like when you do the shaka, you know, like the Polynesians, they're like, you know, aloha, you know, and what have you, and they're like, no, that's demonic. That means this, that, and the other. I'm like I remember there's a professional wrestler.
Now I'm from Cali, so back there that means hang low.
Yeah, you know, like there's a professional wrestler, Jimmy Superfly Snuka. You know, he used to be like this all the time, or like this. You know, he's like, yeah, you know, that was his thing. But that's part of his culture. You know, that's part of his culture. That's what they've been doing for
What was he,
generations.
Samoan?
Yeah, Polynesian Samoan. Yeah. So, but that's part of his culture. They've been doing it for generations. You know, that's basically like saying I love you. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, but you have a lot of
And isn't that, if I'm not mistaken, part of the sign language from
well, with the sign language is like this. The sign language is like that. But with the culture is more like this. Like
Look, just the like I told you I couldn't laugh or nothing. Now my cat is laying right here, and every time I laugh,
she's
she
like
keep
ma,
rolling over like, what
right,
is going on?
right. She's like ma, what's going on? But yeah, no, but that's the thing that is that when it comes down to it, you got people that are overzealous. I'm sorry, you know, and the kitty thing, but some people that are overzealous and you know, and they're like they think they know it all and whatever. And I'm you know, and I always say, never think you know it all because when you do, that's when you know nothing. You know, and that's when
None of
mistakes are
us
made.
know it all,
Exactly,
and stop thinking that anybody else has the answer for you. Stop being lazy.
exactly,
That's
exactly.
why we here as artists to start you on your quest, on your quest. Each one of you has a different walk to find out about your truth. This gentleman is sharing his world about his truth. So no one else should be coming in comparison to say, that sound like me. You may have possibly experienced something as such, but nobody else could walk in your shoes.
Exactly.
In the group that you're in, you have a similarization of different experiences,
We're about
but
to lose you in a
still
second.
everybody's story is different.
We're gonna lose you in a
Correct.
second. And yes, you're correct. But here's the thing that
And we're gonna have to figure out something because this is not cool.
I think I know. I think I know what we're gonna do next time. I have an idea. I gotta look into it again, but I know there's something we can do for next time.
And I'll go to my office too,
Yeah.
because I realized that not being in my office, laying.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Yo, we. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry, y'all. This is all a bootleg ghetto, right? It's all bootleg ghetto. I am so sorry. We damn near we just lost her like right in mid sentence. We lost her in mid sentence. Oh my goodness! You know, I love having a good conversation, but it's just crazy when you know with this whole Zoom thing. It wasn't that bad before. Now it's ridiculous. Like Uh, I'm calling it the I'm sorry link. Right in mid sentence. Right in mid sentence. Oh my goodness. Uh, but yeah, no, it's like to go into where she was saying, we might have similar experiences, but like the journey in itself is different. Like there's certain things that happen to me that may have happened to somebody else, but doesn't mean it's the same journey. It doesn't mean it's it's the same thing. Like I'll have a conversation with somebody, and we're like, and we say, "Hey, Spooky, how you doing, sis? How you doing, sis?" This is actually for my friend Tabisha, and she's back. And she's back. Okay. Uh, let me go. All right. Uh, no. So to go back into this whole thing before I lost you, I was telling people, and I was like, like I would have a conversation with somebody, right? Like okay, I'll be having a conversation with Penny, and she'll say something, and I understand where she's coming from because I went through something that was kind of similar. Not the exact same thing, but something
Right.
similar where I can understand where she's coming from. But her path is her path, my path is my path. We might, certain things might be similar, and even might maybe the same depending on the situation. But like her path, her journey is way different, and the stuff that she went through and that she's going through is different than what I went through, what I go through. So it's really like you were saying earlier, it's like, we got to learn from each other because, we our experiences are all different. We learn different things and all
That's the
that.
only way we grow.
Hmm. For real, for real.
That's the only way we grow because that's how the Lord intended for us to be, to interact,
Hmm.
to come together as brothers and sisters in Christ and walk this walk together to keep one another encouraged in
Now,
the word.
now here's my thing, right? Because I have a lot of friends that are not Christian. I have a lot of friends who they have their own beliefs and what have you. But I say the same thing with them is that we got to come together as people, and come to an understanding that, oh my God, all this crap is showing up, and all this crap is happening, so okay, so before you came on, like my friend, and I call her my sister Spooky, uh, she came on, she's like, yo, Sway, um, so there's certain things that she will say that I may not necessarily agree, but I'm learning from her, and she's not a Christian or anything, but I'm learning from her, and I'm learning from her experiences, and I'm learning from her stuff, just like I may say something is like she might not necessarily agree, but she's learning something different. So,
If nothing else, you learn about the mentality that you surrounded around,
mhm.
which helps you to be able to create a stronger message to connect with others that may have that same mentality. Because last night, I couldn't sleep. It was like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning.
Mhm.
So I decided to, well, first I prayed. Usually, if I can't sleep, then it's like I need to be praying for somebody. So I pray for anybody that's out there in the world on drugs, that's in darkness, that they're able to come into the light. Because unfortunately, when you're depressed or you're involved in different things that take away from your train of thought, as far as drugs, alcohol, um, sex, or just sitting in the dark, being depressed, feeling all these type of ill thoughts about yourself, right? If you don't have anybody around you that's full of light or you're familiar with light, I pray as an intercessor for those that are unable to pray for themselves, that those that are not strong enough, because it's easy to stay high, to not deal with the world. It's easy to stay drunk. It's easy to stay the party person or the funny person to hide what you really going through. And a lot of us They might hear somebody mention God's name or say hallelujah, and they think that that person saved and sanctified. That person may not even read their Bible. They just mentioning the name. But the mentality that we're surrounded by, I brought, I said all that to say, after I got done with my intercession prayer for whoever was out there that needed prayer, then I started to play on Facebook. And I said, I wonder who's live right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I went into the live section and I felt so close minded because I've been wrapped up in my little quest with searching for my destiny and what God wants for me to be doing here, that I stopped paying attention to a lot of the buffoonery because I don't have time for it.
Mm-hmm.
But some of the things you still need to kind of be alert. I needed to see that to help me make a stronger message
Mm-hmm.
to deliver to people that's engaging in these activities, because it blew my mind of the live channels. And I said, wow, I needed to see this because these people got thousands of millions of viewers, of fans. So that means that people is taking part in this malarkey. And, that's trickling down to everybody else. I need to be able to set up a defense message to help them to break this chain out of this bull crap that they got going on.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was just sickening. I seen the different channels and shows, and so maybe I need to set up a channel for late night to give them a little balance, because the options that they had and most of the word channels, you know, it's at a certain time. But when you out there in the streets 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, you need some uplifting channels too that's on live, like the Christian comedy and the word, to give you the difference, the balance. You need balance. And I think that's what, we're here for, to give balance, because we do have experience to where we know, just like you say you have non-Christian friends.
Mm-hmm.
So their mentality is something that you're familiar with, and possibly for sure, with your creativity, you can create content that can give balance to their train of thought, to have them possibly just seeing things from a different perspective that
No,
may
no,
bring about
and I say it on my
them
channel.
thinking differently.
Yeah, and I say it on my channel all the time. Is that because of the fact that I know so many people that are different beliefs and what have you. I do try to bring a Christian perspective into it in a way that they can understand it, so they can see the point of view and why we see the point of view. You know, and it's I think that's very important. I think that's very, especially in today's day. You know, we see all these supposed Christian folk that they're showing nothing but hatred towards other people for whatever reason. You know, it's like when somebody asks me, "Oh, is this a sin?" Like whatever it is, right? Is this a sin? I'm like, yes, it is a sin. But you know what else is a sin? Treating somebody like garbage just because they live this lifestyle. We're supposed to love everybody. So in my way of showing love to everybody, I try to bring a real Christian perspective on why we believe the way that we believe, and why we do what we do. And even if they don't agree with me, but they have an understanding of why I am the way that I am. And I think altogether, just being honest. Honesty is always very important. That's the main thing. Always just being honest with people and not trying to fool somebody into one way of thinking or another is very important, because in the end, the truth always prevails and lies don't. So you know if I'm trying to fool, like, let's say, for example, if I was trying to fool people and I'm pretending to be something that I'm not, in the end that's going to come to light and people are going to see it. So I'd rather live in truth. I'd rather live in truth, and I'd rather live being honest with people, and I'd rather just be very transparent. Be very transparent, because in the end, when it's all said and done, uh, you know, no one can say, "Hey, look, he lied or whatever." No, I just, like, you have other people out there. I'm not gonna name any names, but we did talk about one person in particular, um, where they're lying about certain things, and off camera, I'll give you the name so you know what I'm talking about.
I
But
remember.
yeah, but but they have their followers that believe they're crap, and when it's all said and done and everything's really revealed, where they finally can't make any more excuses for them. They only have themselves to blame. They
Why do you think so many people are so eager to follow instead of lead?
I wish I had an answer to that. I really do. I really do. A lot of people are naive as it is, especially in the ufology field. If basically in any field, right? You have a lot of naive people that they want to believe. They want to believe. They want to believe in something. They want to. It's like, and when somebody who's very charismatic, or if someone who has the pity factor, or some whatever it is that they have that attracts people to follow them, it's like it's really sad. It's really sad because a lot of these people, they don't research, or they don't believe the truth, especially when it's right in front of them.
Now, does the Bible not teach us that we were made to worship God? And so each individual has inside of them a worship type mentality. So if not God, then you will worship something. You got people that worship their kids, their husband, their wives, their belongings.
Money,
You know what I'm saying?
money.
You hear that saying, you can't take it with you.
Mm.
Yeah, money, but you still got folks that like when you young, the good China. You know what I'm saying? So
I love that saying.
you got the good China. Like we have the good China, and it only came out during holiday time.
Hmm.
So no matter what, and it was put away. And then you got the special chairs, to where no matter who's sitting in this chair, when dad come home, you got to get up because that's
Hmm.
dad's chair. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So, and you got folks that I don't worship money. And, I really think that's a problem because now I'm lacking of the money that I want. And when I had a lot of money, I didn't make smart moves with it, but my mentality was different. You know,
Hmm.
I didn't have the right mentality, and I wasn't with the right people. I didn't have the right things going on in my life to put the money where it needed to be. But the priceless thing that I have is the fact that I know that my Heavenly Father has me covered. And He has shown me that, in which throughout my struggle, I'm coming together with you and other people to try my best to go and get His sheep. Because as He said, with 99 out of 100, what are you still doing here? Go look for my other sheep. I had 100. You sitting here talking about you got 99, but you still sitting here.
Hmm.
Go get them.
No, and I
So,
think that's very important. I think that's very important. Uh, because like, let's put it this way: how many sheep are in the world? How many sheeple are in the world believing in any little thing from these false leaders?
well, our job is to go get the sheep,
Yeah,
Sway.
yeah, but here's the thing. Here's the thing is that we do that. We do that. But in the end of the day, they still have the choice on whether or not they they want the real truth or they want the lie. And if
So on our quest to find the sheep, would you have an experience with the ETs?
mm,
What do you think the breakdown I mean, has anything been discussed as far as them coming out
not that
fully?
not that I know of, or not that I remember really. As far as I understand it,
What's the secrecy about?
free
Does it
will.
make it more terrifying?
More about free
Is it
will.
for control?
It's more about free will. Certain things we're not gonna know now. Later. Yeah, we'll. There's gonna be an eventual day where it happens, but after the war, the between God and the demons, but and then we're gonna finally learn what's going on. But as far as now with the good, the angelic, it's more about just free will, not messing with free will. Um, and at the same time, the main problem is that, and I hate to say it this way because there's been a lot of false leaders in the ufology field that have said this, but it's like the only thing that I agree with is, in the end of the day, they don't want to be worshipped. In the end of the day, they don't want to be worshipped because there is a God that deserves worship.
And
So
they will get in trouble, and people will
they will worship these things.
instantly, yeah,
Yeah,
they will because it's different, it's new, just like they do anything else. That's just like they do new artists
exactly. So
every time. New
so
artists, men, women, they get worship.
yeah,
Your the old CD get thrown out for the new song,
yeah. So
the
it's
new beat drop. You know what I'm saying? Oh, that's slamming. Oh, that's something we never heard before.
yeah.
Oh, that's new,
Yeah,
and they
so
get
it's just one
excited.
of those things. It's just one of those things is that they're just being cautious. You know, uh, the evil ones that are working with the governments and all that stuff. Again, this is just my understanding of everything from learning about all this stuff, is that they love to be worshipped. So that's part of the reasons why they're doing what they're doing, because they want to be on top of their own agendas. They want to be worshipped. So it's like,
Right. That's why they left because they wanted to be God.
yeah, so I mean, altogether, in the grand scheme of it all, it's like, the angels of God are always hidden unless God tells them to directly show themselves somewhere, somehow, some way. They don't just show up because you say, "Hey, come over." No, they show up whenever God says, "Hey, show up," for whatever reason. Um, and it's like,
So, what should people really be focused on? What is the generalization of our true existence?
I think altogether, people just need to focus on their relationship with God, or as other people say, with Source. I've been saying this for a long time on my own channel, where I'm like, uh, look, we got to get right with God. We got to get right with Source. It's like, that's the important part. Forget the ET stuff. Forget, everything.
Focus on the Most High.
Exactly. And with certain people, you know like people that believe in different religions and stuff like that. It's like, I respect that they're trying their best and to focus on God and what have you. And I may not necessarily agree with what they do and how they worship or whatever, but I can respect it because at least they're trying. And I know that at some point God will really reveal himself to them, um, where they make a good 180-degree turn and really focus on him. So I'm not too worried about certain people. Then you have other people that they just could care less, and I'm hoping that they make a 180 turn. But either way, I think altogether as people, one of the again, this is something that some of the top people in the ufology field say that I hate to say that I agree with them with is that we also need to love each other, you know,
Now,
as a
with the way
species.
the world is going right now, with what you see,
Hmm.
people, the content that's out there,
Hmm.
and what people are following and
Hmm.
what people are doing,
Hmm.
would it be fair to say that you can understand why such a small number is written in Revelations as
Definitely.
far as being the ones that will be with the Heavenly Father? Because that 144,000
The
is a
144,000 refers to the nation of Israel, not all mankind. It's 12,000 of every tribe of Israel that will be saved. That's what it's referring to. It does not mean of all of mankind. It's only talking about the 12 tribes of Israel.
uh
I know where you're getting from. I've had this discussion with a lot of people, so I had to cut you off from it.
because the way I see the world going,
But here's the deal. Here's the deal.
where's the
Right?
but? It's always a
It's
but.
it you know in its entirety it's basically like that 144,000. That's basically one third of the 12 tribes of Israel when that time comes. But imagine humanity.
It's funny. You can see the world reflecting the way the the Israelites acted coming out of slavery. You know, how ungrateful a lot of people are, how you witness the Lord do such great works. I mean, massive
Mhm.
great works. Parting the Red Sea, feeding them, and still, if not in a timely manner, they was whining, they was crying,
They
and
were
still couldn't wait for Moses to come back down like, man, well, we just gonna do our own. They still wanted
they were
to do
hungry.
exactly what the people are doing right
Yeah,
now,
they were
looking
hungry.
for a visual.
Yeah,
They have to have a visual.
yeah.
That's why we got these fake pictures,
Hmm.
the Yeshua pictures. They went and found these pictures. You understand
Hmm.
me?
No,
They
and that's the
went
thing.
and dug them up
No, and that's the thing.
because they
That's the thing because it's like altogether. I mean, altogether, it's always been some kind of it's always been some kind of mentality of the visual, like you saying. First it was the when they were in the desert, they built the golden calf.
just parting the Red Sea alone for me is like okay, I'm not making no moves
Hmm.
without God. Like we're talking about a whole sea. You watched a whole sea lift up and walk through it and then drop back down for your enemies. And still that's not enough? Nah.
No, and here's the thing: is that when it came down to it, right? When it came down to it, a lot of it is that they want a physical representation or a physical reminder, like the journey that they just took to get out of their slavery wasn't enough as proof, but they needed a physical reminder, and that's how it is a lot of times. With a lot of people,
Right now,
they
that's how
need,
it is with
you
the
know, like,
world.
you know, like, like with certain people, they need a physical reminder, so they carry a cross with them. Like I don't carry a cross with me. You know what I'm saying? Now some people they don't need it, but they like carrying a cross because it's just nice. It's just like my uncle gave me a cross, right? And somebody was cussing me out. Oh, so now you're a Catholic? No, I'm not Catholic. Then why are you wearing a cross? Because it's nice. My uncle gave it to me. I'm wearing it in honor of him because he gave it to me as a gift. It's not, whatever. But it's not. But also, like with other people, a physical reminder would be money. With other people, a physical reminder would be like, you know, sex or whatever. It's just it all depends on the person. A lot in general, people, a lot of people, You know, I'm not saying everybody, but I'm saying a lot of people, they need a physical reminder of why they should worship the, God or whatever. And it's like, so the fact that you were a drug abusing a-hole that mistreated your family, your friends, your children, so on and so forth.
Turn on the light in the
That,
garage, please.
you know what I mean? It's like, you know what I'm saying. Like, you tell somebody the fact that you used to be a drug abusing a hole and an alcoholic a hole, that God took you out of that slavery, but you still need that. That's not enough of a reminder for you that God exists, that God is there, that He should be worshipped. You know, so it's like it's like
Always more, always more. I used to be a gambler. Always more.
yeah, so,
I say,
yeah,
Lord, I won't gamble no more. I just need to hit the jackpot. I hit the jackpot a couple of times. Always more.
yeah. No, for no,
I
and I'll
go in
tell you.
there, just make five into 500. If I see 500, then that means I can get 1,000. I get 1,000. If I see 1,000, that means I can get 2,000.
Yeah.
And I've had $2,000, $3,000
Mm-hmm.
on the machine and went back down to zero
Mm-hmm.
without clocking out anything, because if I see two, then they got three.
Yeah, and I've had my moments too. I still have my moments where like, come on, God, can you please, just help me out here a bit. Help me out here a bit. And sometimes God has to remind me. He's like, well, Sway, don't you remember this, that, and the other? Yes, but come on, I really need a break, God. I really do need a break. Come on. I was like, no, you'll be fine. Don't worry about it. And so I'm like, because I do want more. I do want more, but then I'm reminded, okay, well, I need to want more of God, like God, not the physical stuff. And
Right.
and then God will bless me in His time. God will bless me in His time, but I need to be patient. I need to be patient. And it sucks because I tell people all the time, it sucks because I get it. God's timing is different than ours, right? He lives outside of the time space continuum. He sees things different. So like for God, even the Bible says it, right? That for God, one day for Him is like 1,000 years for us. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's like an
Right.
example given in the Bible. So it's I get it. As I get it, I'm like sometimes I'm praying to God. I'm like, God, I get it, But you got to remember that for that 1 second that passed for you, like 365 days happened for me, and I really need this now. So the soon thing is kind of frustrating, and then God has to slap me across the face and be like, I told you soon, be patient.
Right.
And he turns it around on me. He turns it around on me. He's like, yes, I know you understand that my timing is different than your timing, but it could be worse. And then when I say, well, what do you mean it could be worse? I could have just said no.
It could be worse.
And
Like I
and
said,
there's
when I took out the
times.
trash today, I forgot I had a truck. Now, it's never been a time in my life I actually forgot I got a car
Oh.
outside. Why? Because I am on my spiritual walk and I don't interact with people the way I used to. I don't go the way I used to go.
Mm-hmm.
My highlight is at home trying to figure out what move God want me to make
Mm-hmm.
for my destiny, in which I didn't used to be like that. I used to go, 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 go. I didn't sit. And then it feels like I'm not doing enough if I'm sitting. But everything that I need comes right to me. And when I go out, I'm going out for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
When I go out to um, push the word,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going out for a reason. I'm not kicking it. Ain't no more partying the way I used to interact, because I've already been there and done that. I don't knock it, but the birthday celebrations, the needing to be at all the shindigs, it's a reason for my movement now because the way my steps have been um set up. And it took trial and error, and for me being in the wilderness, realizing that, man, I didn't want to be out there in the devil's den no more. And so ain't no sense in playing with it. And a lot of us play with it because we don't know the time or the hour.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of us play with it.
No, for real. For
And
real.
a lot of people believe that this is a game, what you're saying in regards to the ETs. And I just want people to know that we're not sharing it because you always do that. We're not sharing it as a joke, just as an awareness that we do have other beings right next to us, and that should open your eyes and ears enough to make you want to seek a higher power in our Heavenly Father, um, because He can only accept a willing heart. And if by chance something comes across next to you, what can you do? There's nothing you can do. It's time for everybody to pick a team. You got to make a choice, or else, if you don't feel like it's time, then you've already been compromised. So you'll probably be listed as a lost soul, in which case they already got you. They already got you. And
Preach.
that's including the kids.
Very true. Hey, Tabish, I hate to do this, but I really need to take my meds.
Well, it looked like my timer was off anyway.
Oh my, I gotta take my meds and stuff. But I don't know. You wanna do this again next week, and hopefully we'll have better luck with your setting it up with your stuff.
Well, it's only blessings and curses, no luck. So,
You know what I mean. But yeah. So hopefully, but yeah, no. So if we
when
can,
you take your meds, it's gonna make you go to sleep.
yeah, pretty much that's what it is. Or else I won't
All
sleep.
right.
But I'll be free Monday next week. Uh, I'm free Friday this week. So
All right. Well, I'll be here if the Lord say the same. I guess I'll cuddle up with my cat if she let me. Because I already ate,
all right.
as you remember. And when I came back and you were gone, I figured it was difficult for you to deal with seeing me eat that chicken and mayonnaise.
No, no,
And
no.
you
Just
had
I had a stretch. I had a stretch, and my back is like,
well, it was an awesome first run.
mm, definitely, definitely.
So we'll see what you get when you do the editing and everything.
Yep. I'll
I'm gonna
send it
go
to
to
you.
my office next week though, so I don't be laid out, sitting on the floor and eating
Mm.
chicken.
Just be careful. Nobody sees the breast assist again.
Really, showing breasts is eating on wings.
I was like, oh,
Well, I
I,
appreciate you, Sway.
yeah, I appreciate you too, girl. Always.
So appreciate the time. I feel so honored. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And is there anything that you want to tell the people to leave them with?
Uh, I do have a book that's that's kind of like a starting guide. Um,
To what?
to if it's called "Are You a Contactee?" Basically, it's like if you feel like you may be a contactee, it's kind of like a starting guide. answer all book, something has all the answers, but it's something to at least get you to start thinking, even if you don't think you're contactee.
Wow, that's awesome. How can you get this book?
It's
Are you going to leave a link?
I'll leave a link. I'll leave a link in the comments section. I'll send you the link as well. It's a short read. It's a short read. Is basically just kind of like to help you people get started, figure it out. Um, a lot of the stuff that I talked to here is probably in the book. When I write books is all different. I got a few books out there. Most of them are Christian, but I'll leave links in the comment section and stuff, and I'll send you the
All right.
links.
Well,
So,
if you don't go right to sleep, then call me.
all right,
Because you sent me a picture too.
all right, cool. So, bye
Well,
everybody.
thank you. Have a blessed evening.